This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace.
It is not.
No,
Squarespace actually... Well, we can start right here. This is going to be the starting point. Squarespace can actually... They responded to me and they're like, yep, hey, we're looking at sponsoring your podcast. We'll just get back to you here soon, blah, blah, blah. Radio silence. I haven't heard a word.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a word back. Those fucks.
Me and my buddy, Jordan, we used to I'd call him every Saturday at noon, and I'd tell him about my night on Fridays, and we would always start it out, and we'd be like, this phone call is brought to you by Squarespace, and then it was called Taking Out the Trash Podcast, because I'd be taking out the trash, and the whole podcast was, the phone call was literally the length of me walking outside and throwing away garbage.
Why aren't you guys doing a podcast?
I don't know.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
Taking Out the Trash Podcast.
Yeah.
Why not?
And we had and then it'd be use our promo code Falward. That is is our last names combined. Falward, because his last Falward. We'd always make fun of it because we'd be use this at Hugo's for 50% off or something.
Hugo's?
Yeah. Hugo's Hy-Vee at any grocery store.
Hugo's.
Yeah.
Today on our podcast is Blaine Durward. Blaine, welcome. Blaine is the one who made my logo, and now he's here in the flesh. Right now he's living in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, right?
Yep.
What are you doing down there?
I'm a motorsports graphic designer,
graphic
artist. So mostly I design race cars for a living, is what I tell everybody.
Like the wraps on?
Yep. Yeah, usually. So I don't really paint or anything, so it'd just be, you print on a piece of vinyl about 52 inches tall, and you can wrap a whole car.
Do you have where can we find your artwork here quick?
You could probably just go to my Facebook if you wanted. And then I do have an Instagram account, but I haven't been keeping up on it very often now, but
I can link your shit. Oh, what are you doing here? What's going on? Uh-oh.
I think it just... it's Facebook. Wants to allow. Yeah, so I guess I design race cars. I design t-shirts, logos, about anything and everything, but I try to make it so, specifically... Well, I wanted to do this specifically since I was a little kid, so...
Make race car. Yeah, as long as I've known you, you've been just designing them for the shit of it. No one's even been paying. You're like, this is a new rep. I made this for no one. It's just a design I quick made in 12 seconds. Yeah, especially when I first met you in college. So me and Jake were right next to each other in the dorms. Because I was living with Bray, his roommate now. So usually it was us hanging out in the wing, and at that time, that's when I first started pursuing to try to get a degree. Yeah. And that's when I was first learning, so I was just sitting on my computer making random designs for about anybody. And made that Sue design, remember, on Nick's board? Yeah, I drew that, and I think, that was on the wing forever. That was there for the entire year. Yep. Yeah, I know. That was the only thing that didn't get erased. Everything got fucked with, except that everyone was like, that one's actually pretty cool. We're going to leave that alone. Yeah. That's back when I used to draw a lot. And do you still draw a lot or not really? I don't think I've drawn other than we have meetings at work, and I sit there and draw on every piece of paper that's blank, but other than the fuck of it. Yeah, because I'm sitting there, we have a 10-minute meeting, and usually if I have a pen I doodle, but I don't think I've drawn anything since college. You should get one of those. Do you have a Mac or do you use a Mac or what do you use? Well, I use a Mac at work. Do you have one of those, Bray's got one of those fucking pen things, and you can... Yeah, I got, so they bought me, at work, I got a 27-inch Wacom tablet, which is, it's huge. Dope. That's fucking big. It's huge, and it's, I guess you could say I draw, but it's more or less painting in Photoshop now. Oh, I gotcha. I paint in detail, usually, I think it's on... Go ahead, yeah. Let's see. What I'm looking at right here. What is that one that you just drew right there? What is this one? Okay, that's not a draw. I don't know how far away I am. Here, you can just put it on your lap, dude. Just take the computer. Yeah, so that one that you were looking at was a tribute wrap for military. That was pretty sweet. Yeah, it was for
the U.S. Navy, I think, or something like that.
That was the Marine Corps, it looked like.
Marine Corps, yeah. I think it was. I just did it. It was a snowmobile one.
Oh, I saw that shit. That was wild.
Yeah, like right on here. And then... Oh, comments. And then I went through... And it showed the process. So first you know.
Huh. Is this all on your tablet?
Yeah, so I'd bring this into... Like, I get an image from... Usually it's a high quality image, and then you go in and you outline mostly the bigger objects, and then you do that all in Illustrator, and then I bring it, and then you like color it in based on, you know, just the colors that are around it. So you kind of have a general idea of what the bigger chunks of art are going to be and where you want to start, and then that's still in Illustrator. You save that, and then you export it into... Well, import it, I guess. Import it into Photoshop. And,
oh, shit.
And then this is what I put as shading, like, on top of that second image. And it comes out to look like... Well, let's see if I can... Gosh. And then the final, when you put all that together, it turns into that.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. And that one was 13 hours, I think. So, usually, like, 2 days at work, I'll sit there, and it's mostly, I just learned how to do this last year. In December, I took a course, it was like a 9-hour course, and I watched it twice. And then I just, befriended the guy that made it, and befriended a lot of people, and just kept asking him questions on Instagram and stuff.
It's the way to do it, dude. You gotta be friends with the guys, because you can pay for it, or you can just keep being friends with people who want to give you the info.
Yeah, so, like, pretty much, I used my Facebook through college. This is how I learned how to do most of the stuff, was you just friend everybody that pops up.
People.
Yeah, just everybody that owned a sign shop. And it's like, somebody's got to see, you know, like, those people are just regular humans too. They're checking out people's Facebook. So, whenever I'd post, it'd just be like, oh, hey. And then it's like, this kid's still in college.
Have you seen my Instagram?
Yeah.
Like, every post is me tagging somebody in it. Like, oh, dude, check this out. This is my set. Tag fucking like Joe Rogan, Nick, like, everyone I know.
Yeah, because, I mean... It's like, oh...
It takes one guy noticing you, man.
Yeah, literally, that's all it took here, because,
Nick Swartzen gave me stage time, like, last night. Takes one guy.
Yeah.
When was that? 2 nights ago?
Yeah,
Whatever
2 nights.
Fuck that was.
Yeah, Friday night.
It was dope. Just takes someone noticing you to think you're good. That's it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, this became to where it's like, I would get hit up, even in college, they'd be like, oh, do you work for somebody? And it's like, I didn't at the time. I was like, no. And my first job... I guess the guy found me off an Instagram hashtag when I was just posting my art to Instagram, when I used to do that on my main account. And
do you still do that on your main account?
No, well, I posted on my story. I've been trying to do that, and then I just have like a voting thing.
Oh, you made that second one, right? Blaine Graphic Design or whatever.
Yeah, it's just, well, it's actually, I think it's just Blaine Durward. So, like, it's so weird. Everybody, my, like, main account isn't at Blaine Durward. My art is at Blaine Durward. Because I was like, you know, I already,
It's a good thing to do. You don't need everyone following your home account.
Oh, I know. Yeah, so it's just like, that's where I usually post all my t-shirt artwork. Because, I mean, it got to the point where it's like, I don't want to constantly bombard, like, people on my Facebook and everything of every piece that I've done.
Speaking of which, I fucking need to get back to you about those t-shirts. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, that's fine.
My bad.
And I just look at it at, like, I post, like, the big ones to Facebook and just kind of let people look at them. But I kind of use Instagram as, like, because most artists use Instagram as, like, a nice portfolio because it's in a grid.
Yeah.
Grid layout.
It's a great layout.
Yep.
I mean, do you know what the average person checks Instagram 32 times a day?
Oh, yeah.
That's the average number, 32 times.
Like, I've been noticing that my social media, like, it gets to the point where it gets pretty bad, but...
Oh, yeah, dude. I need to fucking... Especially, like, if you're just bored at work, it's so easy just to pick it up and It's so easy. And you got... Nope.
Yeah, and it gets to the point where, like, everybody's like, oh, well, why are you on Facebook? And it's like, I have a Facebook browser open all day at work because most people that I know personally will never email. You know, and email is so hard to even get most clients that walk in. And I'm already friends with most, like, the racers that are going through us for stuff. So they have me on Facebook, and they'll just Facebook message me. And it's like, well, hey, make this change, and then I just send them the proof back on over Facebook Messenger, and it's way easier because it's instantaneous.
Messenger is good Messenger has really good file maintenance on it as compared to other and
it's just so much easier for it's so much easier for them to be, those guys are at work too. So if you get definitely. A Facebook message of the image of what you need, they can easily just type it back. What the changes need to be made, I'll make them and then send them back instead of email.
Well, it's crazy that you even have to defend your position on this. It's 2020, and you got to be like, well, the reason why we're moving past 1991 email is it's like trying to defend the fax machine. It's like fuck.
Yeah, and it's like social media has been so I think
it's powerful.
Yeah, and especially
billions of people are on social media with a B.
Yeah, and I mean for us. Even my job now, I work at Octane Inc. and they gave us, they allow us to all post on it, on their account.
Okay.
So it's constantly I'm making content for the motorsport stuff. So it's
where can you find? It's called Octane Inc.
Yep.
Just any.
Yeah. So it's just.
If you want to see more of his designs and shit.
Yeah,
This is your employer, Octane.
Yep. We're out of.
Like that for me.
T, South Dakota. We're in T. And I guess it's so that's 5 minutes south maybe of Sioux Falls. So
screen printing. Got all sorts of shit going on there.
Yeah, we do about everything and anything, so it's just
Oh, what is that machine? Go up. What is that?
This?
It looks like a fucking octopus.
Yeah, that's how you screen print. So that's a full press.
I have never seen a screen printer like that. All the ones that I've seen are just the single, you put it down, and then put another screen.
Yeah, and that'll run itself, so...
Oh, it just spins it, and then it just...
Each of those, colors, or it burns.
Okay.
Yeah, so it lays down a color, and then the next one, it'll burn the color, and then it'll go to the next one and lay it on top.
Is the burn?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's dope.
Yeah, wow, and I think it's printing. Machine. I think those are actually... printing one of my designs, maybe. I don't know. We do there's so many things that we got going on, so it's people are in charge of different stuff, so I'm mostly in charge of the regular, race cars and everything, and then I got a guy that works right next to me that does most of the commercial stuff, so...
That looks sick right there.
Yeah, and that's a half wrap, and then, we wrap about any people come in, and then we're really big into... snowmobiles and everything.
Did you guys do that wrap?
Yep. Yeah, that was all done.
That's crazy.
And we ship. So we're pretty big in the wrap game. So we're shipping to any country, it seems. So.
Look at that sled.
Yeah.
Wow. How much does one of those wraps cost? If you wanted to get, is it kind of depend on the artwork?
I think a sled wrap is $450.
It's not even bad.
No, and most of the people,
bucks.
Most people that are already spending $15,000 on a sled. I was gonna say, dude,
$450. That shit. I bought an exhaust for more than that.
Yeah. So most of them, you buy everybody's buying new stuff, and you realize it. You buy any sled or anything, and you already spent $15,000, but there's a guy right next to you with the same exact sled.
Yeah.
Or it's the same with a race car. You spend. I look at it as there's people that are well, I don't care about the graphics or what it looks like, and then it's dude, you're spending $20,000, $30,000 on a race car, and you're gonna make it look trash.
So it
look, to some people.
Anyone who says it's about the performance, bro, yeah, it is. But if it looks like a fucking, it's the same feeling that you get when you finally see what Ed Sheeran looks like.
Yeah,
you're like, damn, this song sounds good. What is it? Oh, Jesus, this fucking
and then
guy
I look at it
horrible.
I look at it you don't go to a car dealership. So, these things are prized possessions to people because it costs a lot of money to do anything,
Yeah, dude.
So when you go to a car dealership, you don't go, oh, dude, I want that car, but it's not in the color that I want, but it'll still get me from point A to point B, but whatever, dude, this is poop brown or, puke green, they had that color. And it's
that 90s van color.
You can't tell me that the person just doesn't care,
No, they care. If they say they don't, they're just lying to themselves.
Yeah, for me, I tell everybody, it's dude, your race car sits in your garage and takes up one of your spots all year. And you're going to let that thing sit there and look, that's mostly a hot rod to everybody. That's why
a lot of people that don't, for me, when I had, a really cool car, I would just sit in the garage and just stare at it.
Yeah.
For hours, I would just look at it. It's so dumb. I don't know why I would do that, but I would just look at my car and be like, wow, that's cool.
And I mean, for me, it's when me and my brother were racing, I mean, I still kind of do.
Who was that other Blaine Durward?
Oh, I think
I think you're friends with them.
Yeah, my buddies made it a long time ago because I was telling everybody, I was like, dude, I think I'm the only Blaine Durward in the world.
So they made a fake
Blaine Durward. They made one on purpose. And then they were like, yo, look at this guy. And they went over and he's like, they went and liked a bunch of pages for like...
It just made it look kind of real.
Yeah, like he's from Los Angeles, California, and he likes the LA Galaxy or something.
It's a fake account. That's fucking
got like the most generic, like...
That's funny as fuck.
Generic white guy they could on there.
God.
So.
They fucking tried to catfish you.
Gosh. So like, yeah, getting back to like, it's just like when me and my brother were growing up, my dad mostly had to put his like hot rod dreams aside of having like a nice car and put it all into these race cars. And it's like my dad was all about the car has to look nice because, you know, there's so much time and effort into it. You just don't want to.
Yeah, it's a reflection of what you're doing with it.
Yeah, like you want to have something nice, and then.
If you're putting in, basically, you want everyone to see the effort that you're putting. So if they see a piece of shit, well, they're gonna think that you didn't do shit to it.
Yeah, like you don't want to come.
Your image is like when you're competing too. When you're like your image is big. Getting in someone's head is always a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, people are like, oh well, a rap never wins a race or anything. No, a rap doesn't. But at the same time, it's like
a positive.
Yeah, you want to have something that looks good. Everybody likes stuff that looks good to
confidence.
Them. Yeah,
it helps your confidence. If you're driving something that looks good and it looks clean, you feel like it's gonna drive clean. But if it's in your head that it's gonna drive kind of shitty, well, you might subconsciously not give it everything because you're like, oh, maybe it's not gonna make it. I don't know. I'm not a race car driver, but I can imagine that with everything else in the world, like that's why like football teams don't just keep wearing the same raggedy bullshit from years ago. It's like you want them to look good too. You don't want them wearing pennies. Yeah,
I mean it's it's a representation of yourself, and I guess it's like. For most of these guys, they want, you know, I get told all the time, it's like, well, what do you want this car to look like? Because they'll give me information and give me colors, and then they'll just be like, well, dude, make it badass. And then it's like, the badass so then style. I tell everybody this, it's like, well, you're like, my badass is way different than yours or anybody's. Yep. So like, how I have it pictured, it's like, okay, so you're just giving me freedom. I don't know you. I've never met this person. And it's like, I have to come up with graphics for the side of this car.
For a random guy.
Yeah, a random guy with no direction. And I just gotta hope I went in the right direction.
So how do you handle something like that? Like, let's say, like for me, remember what I did with my logo? You're like, Jake, what do you want for? I'm like, dude, I honestly don't know.
Yeah, usually it's like, if you're gonna give me creative freedom, I'm just gonna go
at
with
least
it.
You know me well enough to be like, he'll probably think that's cool. But like, if it's someone random, how would you handle that?
I just
come up with something and show it to him. Be like, just tweak it from here.
Yeah,
bro.
I think. Well, I'd probably say 90% of my raps never have a direction. They'll give me some main colors, and then I just gotta add stuff. But it's like, just make something. So I just go on the computer and. I guess I just start clicking around and making points.
There's a very small amount of people that can do what you do. Like, most brains don't think like this. Like, people can't put this together. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah, just
just comes to you, and you can just design that. Like,
yeah, like your logo. Your logo is just like
for anyone else. I would sit at the screen and be like, I don't know what to do with this race car, dude.
Yeah, and sometimes I get creative block. Just like anybody else.
Sometimes for us,
I sit there. Yeah, I sit there and I'm like. Gosh, I don't know what to do. Or like your logo. Like usually when somebody starts like saying words and stuff, I already have like a mental image of kind of what I kind of want it to look like, and then it's just a matter of
do words in your head to come up with pictures, or how do you when someone brings up a word, do you start seeing things as images, or how do you comprehend like when we're talking? How do you comprehend like when someone's talking to me, things come up as shapes in my head. It's weird, like numbers and patterns and things, that's how it comes up. So like for you, how does it come up in your head?
Yeah, like when you say like a word, mostly I've looked at so many fonts and everything. So like when you were wanting a logo, I was like, I kind of have a general idea of how that could be laid out into a logo that I see. And then it's a matter of, hopefully I can keep this mental image until I actually go and do it. And sometimes it's so far off to where I'll get on there and it's like, God, what was I thinking? Or, even so when I go and when I have downtime or like I'm zoning out doing something, like if I'm running, or it used to be like when I used to mow lawns for my dad, like I'd sit there and you just zone out on what you're doing. But it's like I had a creative thing and it's like, God, I really want to make that. And then you can like picture exactly how it's going to be laid out in your head. And then 5 hours later when I'm down, when I'm off work or whatever, I'll just go and make it and hope to God.
You can keep it in your head that long?
Yeah, usually it's like...
Damn.
It's more or less like reminding myself to do it. So like with your logo, I don't even know how long I had. I think I made it that weekend. And I still had the mental image of like what I thought it could look like. And then it's mostly like going in, I use Google and stuff, and you Google, what a cloud looks like or something, and then it's like, oh, how could I tie in this?
Shapes.
Yeah,
that's dope. Yeah, see, I wouldn't have done any of that. My fucking brain, I would have just put like a CS in blue, and like that would have been my logo. Like, have you seen my Jake Redder comedy logo? So as bland as it gets, I couldn't come up with anything, so that's what I did.
Yeah, and I mean, for us, I feel like it's so nice that we have like Google, or that I follow a lot of people that do other stuff. And some of the stuff, like I follow artists that have nothing to do with racing or anything with my degree. They're just doing crazy stuff. Like they make the craziest stuff, and it's just like that crazy stuff just gives you enough like spark to where it's like, oh, well, they're using these colors together, or they're using, because colors are huge. Some color, like for me, I personally don't like the color red that much. There's a lot of people that I have to design race cars with, and they use red, and it's like, well, or then
just because of the multiple shades it can be, or
what
about red?
I just have never liked red. I
just
don't know
the color?
Why. Like, that's like the least favorite color of mine.
Fuck red. We're ousting red.
Yeah, and people give me colors like this. Like this one was purple and neon green. That's what he gave me. And it's like, well, off the top of your head, you don't... It's like, oh, those colors don't go together. Or, for me personally, it's like, people give you color combinations, and it's like, dude, what do you got? You got, like, purple, neon yellow, like, some type of brown, And they're like, oh, we want this to mix together into something cool.
Said, most of us have no idea. We just think each color is cool, and when we put all of it together, it will be a trifecta of cool.
Yeah.
We don't understand that it's actually going to be vomit.
And I guess it gets to the point where, like, a lot of these guys will just be like I had somebody call me on Friday, and he's like, I was like, well, what colors do you want to go with this year? And he's like, just surprise me.
Just surprise. Fucking anything, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're going to tell me to just go and put together colors for a person that I rarely know, and I'm just supposed to make it and hope to God these are going to be his favorite colors, because his car is going to be wrapped in it.
Yeah, he's going to be driving in this.
Yeah.
So, how did you get involved with Octane? How did you reach them?
So that's kind of a crazy story. I think I have like a whole...
Ooh, what's that? What's that right there?
That's a sign that I made for my dad.
That looks dope.
So yeah, that was like...
That's fucking sick, dude. That looks like a 1950s shop.
Yeah, so that one... I'll get back to that Octane thing. I'll tell you about this.
Sorry about that.
So I didn't know what to do for my dad's... Me and my brother didn't know what to do for my dad's, Christmas present. And my roommate just started a company where he can cut out signs, and he cuts metal signs for everybody. So I was like, oh, well, he can cut it in the shape. He can cut it in a sign shape that I can make. So I made this sign on Illustrator quick before I rusted it out or whatever. And I had the outline or whatever, sent it to him. He cut it out, and then I went in to Photoshop and went in and mostly painted on rust and made it look like it's got holes in it and made it aged. And then I printed it on a piece of vinyl and had my buddy overlay it. So it turned out pretty good, I guess.
That looks really good. I'm surprised I didn't see that.
Yeah.
That looks so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's about a 5-foot sign, so it's pretty big. And I mean, that's always been like the thing for my dad. He's always liked vintage signs, and he used to take us by gas stations all the time, like old gas stations, and he'd just be like...
Your brother's number 2, right? You're 12?
Yep.
How did you guys pick those numbers?
Well, my brother's favorite number is 2, and so I was supposed to be 3D because I was like the third Durward,
Oh, you have an older brother?
Yeah, I have an older stepbrother.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, he lives down in Oklahoma City.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
It's pretty far away, right? Yeah. Where is that far away? Yeah, that's almost by Texas, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and he's in the Air Force, I think. So, yeah,
fuck. Shout out, dude.
Shout out.
What's his name?
Rick.
Shout out, Rick.
Yeah.
Dope motherfucker.
And I mean, yeah, because so the...
Is that him right there?
No, that's my brother.
Oh.
Jordan.
Wait, on the left?
Yeah, that's
When
Jordan.
did he get long hair like that?
He didn't. I think he's just wearing a cap.
Oh.
Yeah. But the 12 came from my brother had... So we knew that I was going to race for 4 years after my brother started. And so my brother mostly had a backup car that they had bought. So my brother had a backup car like halfway through the season, and it had a 2D already on it. And when it came my time to race, it was just easier to put a 1 in front of the 2 than it was to take off the 2D and put a 3. So it all worked out.
So you okay, so because we haven't discussed this yet, but you race as well.
Yep.
So you rap, but you're also a race car driver as well.
Yeah, so like I feel like I've always been around racing since I was a little kid. My dad and mom mostly.
That's fucking dope, dude.
I don't think we ever, like I tell everybody this, and it's like my mom and dad, well, my dad never raced, so it's kind of weird that it's like every vacation that we took when we were little kids was to a racetrack. Or like we go to the World of Outlaws or something. We go to some big racing event.
World of Outlaws is dope.
Yeah, and then we got like we used to go to NASCAR races and stuff. And then all of a sudden, like when it became my brother's time, he wanted to race. So my dad kind of just started up like he was just mowing elderly people's lawns and stuff for extra cash after work. And then he mostly was like, well, if you guys want to if you guys want to do this, you guys have to work. So I think I mowed lawns since I was 10.
Damn, dude.
And you don't think about it, but mowing lawns and cleaning up people's lawns,
especially when you're 10 years old.
Yeah, you make decent money doing that for a whole summer. So I mean, it added up to where my dad was able to buy us, with that money, was able to buy my brother's car when he was 14, and then
Sorry, go ahead.
And then when I turned 14, I got my opportunity to race, and I guess I've been around racing, and that's all. When I was growing up, that's all I wanted to really do is like, oh, I want to be a race car driver. Or, I used to draw a lot, so that was the whole goal when I was a little kid. I was like, I'm going to design.
Yeah, it all just kind of came together.
Yeah, I was like, I want to design the looks of what a race car is going to be, and I want to race on the side. I want to do a racing too. Obviously, when I started growing, even in high school, I was like, obviously, I'm not going to be a professional racer. You have to know, like, you can tell. And I was just like, well... if I want to still be around the sport.
For knowing and not being one of those guys that... There was a kid that I went to high school with that was, like, not talking to Division 2 and 3 colleges because he was waiting for a D1 to come talk to him. Like, dude, they're not coming.
Yeah.
They aren't coming, dude. We live in Menasha where they aren't coming. Yeah. All right, just fuck off.
Yeah, and it's like, if you look at how you get into, the big leagues like NASCAR and stuff, you have to... Like I tell everybody, there's a lot of talent, but you also have to be a marketable person. So you just can't, you can't just, get no sponsors and expect to stay somewhere.
Right.
That's not how it works in that industry.
It's
because
not how it works anywhere.
It's all about, these guys are putting all their money on you. Because NASCAR, you're forking in $15 million a year, If I'm going to pay for you to race with my logo on the car for $15 million and we can't sell anything after that?
Yeah, what's the point?
Yeah, there's no point. You don't put an ad on a TV, well, like a commercial or something. Yeah, if you see no return, you're going to cancel that.
Right. If you spend $500 on an ad, you want at least $500 in profit in return.
Yeah.
That's how it
That's
works.
With anything, you don't buy something and then have no return on investment.
You want a positive return on investment. That's how, like, no one buys stocks and like, well, I hope the market goes to shit tomorrow.
Yeah, I just spent $500.
I lose all my money.
Yeah, I paid $500 for nothing. I'm sad now and everything,
There was a kid in Grand Forks. I'm not going to say their names. But they fucking mow lawns and sweep up driveways and all that shit all summer so they can pay for hockey in the winter. It's like a family of 3 kids, I think.
Yep, and my dad...
It's fucking dope.
My dad still does. He still runs, me and my brother both moved away. And he still mows lawns in the summer. And then in the winter, he goes in... My dad goes in at like 4 a.m. before work. And he'll go and shovel people's driveways. Because in Williston, they won't... you got a bunch of elderly people.
Yeah.
And the mailman people won't deliver mail or anything if the sidewalks aren't clean because So he goes in 4 a.m., does his thing, and I mean it's paid. It helped us race, and he really shaped the whole way that we could race, and been working. I think I worked every summer for not a dime, because I was just like, everything's getting put back into my race car.
Right.
Like, if I looked at it as when I was a kid, I'll work if I can race on the weekends. And that's what we did. I think we raced every weekend in high school that I raced in high school. Yeah,
really?
And even into college. Yeah, I'd usually...
I remember in college you went back a lot to go race on weekends, and even sometimes that 1 week for fucking Thanksgiving you went back
usually,
to race
because the two tracks that were like right next to us, so Williston Basin Speedway, and then we'd go to Canada on the off weekend. So Williston would race one weekend, and then I'd drive up to Estevan, Saskatchewan, Canada, then the weekend after, because they would host a race, and then I'd come back, and then we'd just do that every weekend. And usually it was,
Did they ever give you any shit for towing a car over? Like, did they ever have to, like...
No, we'd mostly give them shit coming across the border. Like, most of the guys at work, they were thinking it's cool because they see people all the time, and they're like, oh, dude, you going to race today? Yeah. And then like, oh, yeah, man. Or then after a while, it's usually the same people. So they'd be like, hey, man.
To get to know them.
Yeah. So coming back, because it'd always be late. So in Canada,
United States,
yeah, like in Saskatchewan, you lose an hour, so it's mostly like mountain time.
Yep.
So we go up there, and they'd start an hour later than most racetracks. So it started at like 8 o'clock our time, and by the time it got done, by the time we packed up both race cars and then started heading home, we would have to go. Hour. Well, so we'd enter at one place. Well, that border closed at 10 o'clock.
Really?
10 o'clock.
Oh,
so then you would have to go to another one out of the way an hour. So then I would come back in, and then it'd be 1 o'clock in the morning, and the people would be like, you bringing anything back? And it'd be like, yeah, it's some dirt. Search.
Jesus.
And usually we get back at like 3:30 in the morning on
Whenever I'd
Saturdays.
go up there for fucking hockey or work, goddamn, the Canadians were always like, oh, come on in, dude, welcome up. And then I'd come back, and the fucking Border Patrol for the United States, you guys need to fucking relax. Holy shit, dude. I was sitting on the side of my car watching these dudes just tear my fucking car apart all through my hockey bag, underneath the extra wheel well. I'm like... Dude, I'm a coach. Like, I'm coaching, dude.
Yeah.
This is embarrassing. All my kids are, like, driving by watching their coach get their car ripped apart. It's, like, it's fucking embarrassing.
I know,
that was wrong with you guys?
I don't think Bray knew anything about it. Yeah, when me and Bray flew back into Winnipeg from Cancun.
Yep.
It was like 3:30 in the morning, and we got two natives driving back. We get in there, and we're trying to come back into the States, and they tore apart Bray's car. Like,
really?
They made us go and sit in a waiting room, and we were sitting out there just laughing. Because they where are you coming back from?
Bad.
Where are you coming back from? Mexico? Whoop! That's just like, two college kids.
Two college-age Native Americans coming back from a trip to Mexico.
They tore through all of our bags, just put them on the table, and then they were like, yep, you guys are good. Just left it all.
Yeah.
So then we were it's 3:30 in the morning. We're just like, whatever. Threw it all back in there. Just, so the car was trashed after. And it was just like, I get that they got to do what they got to do to find stuff. But come on, man.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Not really. So, like, when I was at the airport one time, TSA did that extra baggage search where they go through all your shit. And every time they took something out, I would take something off their desk and throw it on the floor. Every time. So she would take out, she took out I had a bag that I got from fucking Montreal that I didn't want their fucking gritty fingerprints on it. But it was a really nice, I don't want to say what it is because I have it in my house and I don't want people to break it. But they fucking pulled it out and they got their fingerprints right on it. So I took her entire bucket of pens and I dumped it on the floor right in front of them. They were like, what is that? I'm like, every time. If you guys, fuck you guys. Fuck you, that's my shit. Fuck you.
Yeah, I feel...
If you don't want to put it back in there as nicely as you took it out, fuck you. I'm breaking your shit too then.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah, I get that. I get that they search it or whatever.
Yeah,
but
you
don't
can
have
do
to
your job without being a
you
dick.
know? Yeah.
There is a big difference. I don't understand why everyone gets this pass because they work for the government. Like, oh, well, you know, gotta keep us safe. Keeping us safe means you gotta tear my shit apart like an asshole and then make me put it all back together? Like, no, that's not keeping anyone safe. That's you being a dick. Yeah. I've met, like, Grand Forks County Sheriff Andy Schneider. That dude's dope. I have never had a bad interaction with him, and he's a law enforcement officer. And I've also had a lot of really terrible interactions with law enforcement officers who like to just power trip you. It happens all the time.
I mean, I feel like there's people that abuse power.
Hey, man, I just want to give you a heads up. Those headphones are on backwards, so that might be why you're having a hard time wearing them.
Oh, no, I'm wearing them like this so I can just, like, I don't need...
Okay.
Yeah. I don't need one, you know.
All right.
Like, sometimes I feel, like, uncomfortable wearing, like, you know, to where it's both secure around there, so I'm fine.
It's a hard job, and you respect the law enforcement, but you don't have to respect the person being a dick wearing the... Like, you know, there's plenty of people who... It's like... That'd be like saying that all priests deserve holiness, even the ones who rape kids. Like, no. Sometimes you get some assholes in there that don't deserve any respect. That's how it goes.
Well, yeah, it's just like...
That's
because
the world, man.
You can't look at, you know, say there's a boss.
What are you doing? Hey. Hey. Jesus. Sorry, got my cat in here fucking around.
So, like, if you're a boss of a company, that doesn't give you the right to just go and insult somebody or something. Absolutely because you're, you know... And then it's like... You should respect yourself enough to realize, hey, man, you just can't say that, and I should be okay with it. It don't matter who you are. No matter whoever it is.
Whether it's a janitor or the president, man.
Yep. Yeah, you can't walk up and say, yo, you're a pile of shit. And then I'm supposed to be like,
this right
hey,
here?
Man, that's, you know, you can say that. But no.
Like the worst thing
people can't just, you know, you can say it, but this guy can't? Okay.
What you can't do is play it off to business. When people do that at work... Oh, well, you know, it's business. No. I worked in business for a lot of years and still do, and I don't treat people that way. And when I was in charge of that store, I had a shitload of very loyal customers just because I was nice.
Yeah.
It's just being nice. And, well, it's business, man. You know, you gotta be a dick to people in business. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You definitely do not.
It's like, yeah, dude, okay, show them that you have power.
Hey, stop it. God, my cat. I'm so sorry.
I feel like maybe back in the day but now it's just to the point where it's like there's so many opportunities now for people, and it's like, okay, man, you're gonna treat me this way. Well, I see it all the time. There's that one place where it's like, you know, don't think that you're not replaceable or whatever, and people are like, you know, you ask for your 2 weeks, and the person fires you right on the spot, and then it's like, and it's like. I get that it's a business, but it's like you could literally be the loyalest person of all time, and like people will just be like, "Yo, yeah, whatever." Seconds.
Yeah. I gave 5 years of my life to that store and turned it around, and then they canned me. Yeah. Those guys suck.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it just comes down to, well, it's business, man, and yeah, I get that it's business, but, geez, dude, at the end of the day, we're all humans. Like that still comes back on your moral conscience, you know. That's like, dude, I did that. You know, It doesn't make you any better of a person that it's like, oh, it's business. Okay, yeah, that's fine now. It's fine for you to do that.
Good luck sleeping at night, man. Like, if you can, you're kind of you got some problems of your own. Anyway, back to Octane.
Okay, so, we get on a little rant. Yeah, I know. So, I actually just posted a post about it. So, when I was in college, I think it was my junior year. No, it was my senior year. So this all started kind of my junior year. I posted like a holiday edition of racing. It was like, it looked like Santa was driving like all forms of the race cars that I've been designing. And I posted it to Instagram. And this guy, like, I get an Instagram message. This is back to where, like, back when Instagram, I feel like no one was getting DMs, so it was like weird.
Instagram was a weird
place. And this guy's like, I found you through a hashtag. I really like your art. You kind of created it like I do too. And then we started talking, and I mostly freelance for him. So he would send me projects when I was in college, and I'd do them, and then he'd just pay me on the side.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know you were doing this.
Yeah. So like I was just doing that every once in a while, and it came down to my senior year, I think, of college, and around, I think it was like 2 weeks, like right around Thanksgiving, he texts me and he's like, "Hey, you're coming to PRI," which is like a big racing conference in Indianapolis, and it's huge. Like a bunch of people go, and mostly big higher up companies have their booths out. It's kind of like SEMA or something, where you go down there and everybody's trying to show off their new stuff for the racing season, and mostly, just show off and try to sell stuff. So he's like, well, you're going to come down here. I'll pay for your plane ticket or whatever or something. And I was like, okay. Never met this guy, barely really. I don't really know him, So I'm telling, I'm in Grand Forks. I call up my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I'm going to Indianapolis this weekend, and she's like, oh, and then it's like, yeah, I'm going to meet, Tim, and she's like, oh, okay, kind of like sketch out, and I'm whatever. I'm in college, and I'm like, I've never met this dude, whatever. And this is right before finals,
Jeffrey Dahmer situation.
Yeah,
going
this
on,
is
maybe.
the weekend before finals. I had to go down there. So I get on I was like, screw it. Got on the plane, and I'm flying. Like, it's so crazy. I'm flying to Indianapolis to meet a person I've never met. Get off the plane. I call him, and I'm like, yo, I'm in Indianapolis. And he's like, walk outside. There'll be a taxi coming to pick you up. And I was like, okay. No joke. Pulls up. This taxi the guy knows what I look like. The taxi driver pulls up. The taxi guy, Tim wasn't with. So this taxi guy pulls up and he's like, hey, Blaine. And I'm like, okay. I get in and he looks up and he's like, you ready to have the most fucked up weekend of your life? And I was like, what? This is back before Lyft and Uber. So I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, dude, you're gonna party so much. And I was like, hell yeah, So
hell yeah, what?
Yeah. So this,
I wouldn't have been saying hell yeah. I would have been in the back seat like,
well, I'm just kind of like,
what kind of party are we going to?
I know.
Jesus
so it
Christ.
gets.
What kind of party is this? Is this like
it gets real crazy.
Stones party?
Yeah, it gets real crazy. So like, he starts driving around. And he's like, yeah, I've he's known the guy forever. And every time that he comes down, this guy is the taxi driver that drives him around. So he's like, I've seen it all,
Okay.
So he drives me to the hotel, and Tim's sitting there with his dad, and they open up the door, and Tim has a beer. And he's like, hey, Blaine, nice to meet you. Welcome to Indy. Hands me a beer. And I was like, hell yeah. Go up to the room where we're staying. They have shots lined up already, and I'm like, are you kidding? And he's like, you ready to have the most fun you've ever had? And I was like, hell yeah. Just thinking, like, people say that all the time. Yeah. It's like, whatever. Oh, that was a...
Nope, he meant it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, so...
First time meeting this guy, and it's just...
Yeah, and then he's like, yep, we got, he was nice about the whole thing. We were, that whole weekend when I was down there was, that was the first time I think I had bottle service, and I was the bartender there too. So I got kicked out of that place, but then, so this is all going towards how I got my job. And it's so crazy because, we're hungover like the next day, and we were walking around PRI, and the guy was talking to somebody. And I was like, well, I'm going to go and walk around the booths, see what's around. Well, I had known about Octane Inc., and they had just kind of started up. In 2015, there was 2 people that combined to make it. They used to be 2 different sign shops.
Okay.
And so I was walking around, and I saw their booth, and I walked up, and they saw me, like, looking at the T-shirts. Like, they had T-shirts, and I was like, I asked them a question. I looked at them, and I was like, hey, how do you guys make these? How do you draw the car to make it look like it is, and then put it on the back? And they start going through the process of like trying to tell me, and I'm interested. And then they're like, "Hey, do you have a business card?" And I was like, "No, I'm freaking in college, like." And then they're like, "Oh, do you have an Instagram?" And then I was like, "Yeah." So like awkwardly like gave them my Instagram name, and then they go and look it up, and it just so happened that Brett, the guy that is my boss now, he had saw my artwork before, and then they were like, they were looking at it, and they're like, what are you doing after graduation? And this goes from like me asking a question, and I was like, I don't know yet. And they're like, do you have a job? And I was like, not yet. Like I kind of had that job offer from Tim at the time, but I was like, well, whatever. And I was like, not yet. And they're like, well, would you want to come work for us? And this is like in, that quick. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, well, maybe, sure. So they gave me like a T-shirt and I walked away, and everybody, all of them added me on Facebook and Instagram. Damn. And I think so that weekend when I was there, I kept going partying with Tim, and then and then they he drops me off. Yeah, he drops me off. Yeah. It was pretty wild weekend in Indianapolis, and I flew back home. Went to finals, and then they just kept. It was like I tell everybody, I was like, I didn't get recruited to go and play sports after college or anything, so I don't know how college coaches and everybody call and they try to get you to come to this college or university or something. But that's exactly how I felt when, I was I'd be studying at the coffee shop, and I'd get a Facebook message that said, "Are you ready to come to Sioux Falls?" And it's like, bro, maybe, man. Yeah, dude, I'm studying. Or he'd be like, "Hey, what's up?" Studying. Okay. And it'd just be like, and then they'd be like, when are you coming here? Oh, dude, it's going to be so cool when you come here. And it's
going to be pretty dope when you're here, man.
And I'm trying to.
I haven't decided yet, but all right.
Yeah. And I mean, I kind of made up my mind, after that weekend, it was really hard to play off that a college kid. I could live this, Tim had an enticing thing of being it seemed so fun.
Yeah.
That I wanted to do it. And he knew a lot of people in the asphalt world. So up-and-comers into NASCAR is what I look at it as. And Octane Inc. is more towards the dirt side. And I like them both, but obviously you want to go to the highest. That's how anybody is. And I was like, okay, finally made my decision. I think in April I made some stupid post about for the first pick or in the NBA draft or the graphic design draft. I got drafted by him or whatever. And I told Octane Inc. that I was turning them down, and they're kind of, obviously disappointed that they tried. And so I graduated, and me and my brother took a road trip around California and everything. And then I was like, okay, well, he's like, be here by June or whatever. So I drive kind of just it's still weird, but it's I accepted a job. No paper, no anything, and I packed up my car, told my mom I'm driving to Michigan to go work for a dude that I've met once, into a state that into a state I've been when I was a little kid, but into a state or area that I am away from everybody. So moved across, went there. It was a fun time. I got to do so much stuff in the first 4 days that I was there. Going to racetracks, I got to flag a race. I was an announcer for a race, and we were living the party life, I guess. And then kind of went all downhill eventually. I wasn't getting paid very good or at all, really. And
or at all.
Yeah, it's just I was getting pretty bad wage. I feel like I was getting, I wasn't getting paid at all, really, for what I was doing. But it was fun, and, I looked at it and I was like, well, this isn't, it kind of started dying down, and I knew that I didn't want to be there anymore, and kind of splitted ways, and I was just like, okay, 3 months into my thing, so my whole summer, so it was right at the end of the summer. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, I was literally on cloud 9 when I graduated college, And now, in August, I went from everybody being like, oh, Blaine's going to do big things. Blaine's, he's got all this stuff to Blaine's right now unemployed. I have a shit full, my whole shit is in the back of my car. And I'm driving from Michigan unemployed, so I was packed up my stuff, went on a road trip, mostly went and see all my friends. It took a U.S. road trip for a week, just bumming to house, and then got back and stayed in North Dakota, and I'm like, God. So then I started, because the whole thing was, I thought it was really cool that I never really had to apply for a job.
Yep.
It was just that's the whole thing, is I wanted to be good enough that people saw my work and were trying to.
Wanted you to
yeah. Them. Yeah, so I started applying. And I got calls from California and, Florida and stuff, and they were just regular sign shops, and they're like, oh, yeah, we like your work. Can you meet for an interview tomorrow? And it's like, well, dude, I live in North Dakota. But I'd fly down there. But they were like, oh, well, we're just looking for...
Shit, my bad.
There you go.
Go ahead.
We're just looking for... We're just looking for somebody that already, lives down here. We don't want people, moving. That's kind of the people that they wanted, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay. And at this point, I hadn't really contacted Octane yet. And then I was just like, one day, I called them, and I was like, hey, can I speak to Brett? And I think I talked to him, and I was like, yo, man, it didn't work out. The job before didn't work out, And I guess it was just kind of like me mostly, being like, I made the wrong decision, because in all reality, I remember, there was one time that I specifically remember I was in Michigan, and Tim asked me when I was sitting in the passenger seat, we were driving back from something, and he's like, where do you think you'd be if you were driving? Well, with Octane right now. And I was like, well, I'd probably be at the Knoxville Nationals, which is the biggest sprint car race in, the world. And he's like, what makes you think you'd be doing that? Well, one of the bosses at Octane actually races. So he'd be there. Damn. And I was like, well, if I'm going to be a graphic designer and everything, I'm close enough to that I'd probably be there. Just thinking that. And I was like, he's like, well, you probably wouldn't or whatever, something like that. And damn. A year later, I was there. So, the whole thing was like, yo, big middle finger, whatever, you want to say. But it's just like, I guess you can't really tell somebody what's going to happen. Because in a year's, in 3 months' time, the whole thing was, that was 2 weeks before we split, I quit and got fired on the same day and the same time, kind of mostly a mutual agreement that I shouldn't work there.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
So I moved away, and,
sorry, I spilled that fucking drink on me, and it's a real bitch right now. Yeah. God damn it. keep going. I'm sorry.
And I guess it came down to, it's like, once you say to somebody that they're not going to do something, it lights a fire underneath you,
Oh, absolutely.
To where I was just like,
oh, absolutely.
I thought it was going to be crazy, if that was going to happen. And, I have no harsh feelings for Tim or whatever.
No, I know what you mean, but when people tell you that you can't achieve something, that's fuck you. That's what I'm doing now, dude.
Yeah, and this is, I just say it how it is. It's like, this is exactly how it happened. I mean, you can take and judge people however you want. I don't think people should judge anybody based on, when it comes to business or whatever. It's so hard to, be nice when stuff broke apart, obviously. So,
exactly, man.
And for him, he doesn't have me on any social media anymore. I'm still friends with everybody back there.
About it. I get, trust me, I'm sure I've said things about my former employer that have made it his way, and he's been like, what the fuck are you saying that for? It's like, dude, we had good times together too, my former employer and I. But towards the end, did shit get dicey? Oh my god, did shit get dicey towards the end?
Yeah, and it's
just how it goes sometimes. Some things are not meant to be, dude. And honestly, thank God that I did get fired, because if I didn't, I probably would still be there, really unhappy.
Yeah, and I look at it as that all happened for a reason. I called up Brett and on the phone, and then he's like, "Okay, well, let me check or whatever." Well, it just so happened the guy that they had hired, that was supposed to take that position that I was working, the other graphic designer that they needed, had gotten, let go. And just so happened that I needed a job. And then they were like, hey, they offered, then they came back, they called me up on the phone, they were like, hey, they made a job offer, and I was like, hell yeah. And they're like, when can you be here? And I was like, this is on a Thursday. And I was like, whenever. You start Monday. Okay. So, told my mom, I'm like, I got a job. Mostly packed my bag. Picked an apartment. Hadn't even looked at it, because I needed to move.
One?
Yeah, so I didn't have any time to move. So, I just picked one. And I told them where I was moving to. I'm moving to North Sioux Falls. Worst, they were like, oh, that's not a good place to move.
Why? What's wrong with Sioux Falls?
Well, no, like where I was moving into Sioux Falls was not the best area at all. So like they were telling me this, and it's like, okay, showed up, got my apartment, you know, without even seeing it. I had already signed papers to have it before I had saw it. So like, it just sounds so like I literally moved down there, didn't know a single person. So I was moving to a place again where I knew no one, and I'm moving to this place. Get there, move in. Like, the apartment's kind of nice on the inside. On the outside, it was sketchy. And my mom and those guys, my mom's just looking, you know, wide-eyed, being like, okay, how is my son gonna...
Are you still in those apartments?
No. So, like, I have signed a 6-month lease. So, like, God. I was like, yeah, this will get me through. And it was pretty cheap rent.
That's good.
So, you know, it came down to, like, where I was living. Got there. Went and saw those guys on that Friday. Yeah, because I moved there. No, I moved there on a Thursday. Moved into the apartment. No, Friday. Yep, I remember that. I moved in, got there on a Friday, went and saw
like the next
Octane.
Day?
Yeah, it was like 2 days or something like that. It was something crazy. Like, I didn't have any time to do anything.
Jesus, dude.
You know. So I literally got there on a Friday, walked into Octane, met the people, and then I had the whole weekend to myself there. And then I started work on Monday. You know, just didn't know anybody. And like the apartments that I was living in, you know, I come home and sometimes the police would have like the house right next to us surrounded, and I'd just laugh, you know. I'd laugh. I'd come home from working out and it'd be nighttime and it'd be like, oh, there's the police would just be like, hey, how's it going? Be like, hey, man.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, and then like 3 a.m. car horns going off. You just know what the people in the, you know, you look down in your little parking lot area and you just see a car just sitting there running, waiting for people to walk out, and they do their little drug deal or whatever and go back in. And at the same time, like, all those guys were super cool. Like, I'd walk by them. There'd be a car just sitting there and a dude just chilling in the car.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, and he'd have his window down, so I'd just be like, hey, man, or I'd wave. You know, hey, they're humans too, you know. I just look at it, it's like,
they're getting their houses some other way, man.
So I was like, yeah, it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't the greatest. And then, yeah, my roommate now I work with, he was like, he bought a house, so he's like, yo, you can come live here. And I was like, hell yeah, I guess, get the hell out of there. So, yeah, and somehow I've been there for 2 years now. Around almost 2.5 years.
Damn, that's a quick 2 years, too, because I remember when you first went there. That's been 2 years already.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And I guess, you know, it all worked out. I feel like I was supposed to be there. You know, it's like mostly what I did was, you know, I made decisions and I failed at them, and now I'm here, and somehow, you know, I think I'm trying to prosper into what I am, and
you're supposed to fuck up.
And I fucked up early. I hadn't really.
It's better to fuck up when you're 22 than when you're 53 and you've been somewhere for so long that you hate your fucking life and it's too late to figure it out now.
Yeah, and like, I guess for me, I'd never really failed at what I was doing, because when I started, everybody was just like, you know, my work had been saw or whatever. I couldn't really fail because I just like freelanced and stuff throughout college. But I'd never even had a real job. Like, that was my first real job, because other than that, I'd mowed lawns for my dad. And I guess...
Well, dude, you're still becoming an adult.
Yeah.
You know, like, it fucking... There is so much pressure put on people who are, like, 20 years old. And, I mean, even teenagers in high school, that it's like, well, what are you going to do with your life, dude? You're 17. What are you going to do? It's like, dude,
yeah,
they barely have been alive. They've barely been on the planet. They don't even know who the fuck they are yet.
Yeah, and like the whole thing is,
your brain isn't done growing. It's crazy that
you go to college and you go and ask a freshman what their major is, you know, and then you ask them your sophomore and junior, and you'll just see them constantly changing.
Yeah,
and
they don't know what they want to be.
Yeah, like no one knows. You know, it's so early, and then you don't even know where you're gonna be. So like, just because you got a degree, you know, it's like you go to one place, and then it's like, dude, you can keep working here, you know. You can get that one job, and it's like, how long do you work and be, you know, eventually, if you're not going to be happy, you got to make a change, you know.
Move on.
Yeah.
You need to.
So, like, that was the whole thing. It was just like, you know, I enjoy my job right now. It's, I'm mostly doing my dream job, and I get to do it every day, and it's like, hell yeah, I'm happier than I would be if I was at that other one, or if I was anywhere else. So I'm like, Hell yeah.
Well, dude, time is the only thing no amount of money you ever bought a second of time. So if you're going to be fucking sad as shit all the time, what's the fucking point of that?
Yeah,
you can be rich as fuck, but if you're just sad, I mean, you can wipe your tears with your $100 bills, but that doesn't make the tears go away.
Yeah. Dude, I never want to wake up on a Monday and just be like, oh my God. I get it. Yeah, Mondays suck, but no one ever wants to wake up and be like,
fuck
oh
this.
My God. And then there's people that do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then on Friday they're only excited for the end of work, and then they go home. It's just like, dude, you realize like that's 5 days. You get 2 days. That means you get 2 days of what you call happiness. And that adds up to how many days in a year? Like, that's so much wasted time of being, like, unhappy.
You have a job that you're, like, a lot of people are afraid to talk to their boss about how they're unhappy. It's like, just fucking, Jesus Christ, it's a person.
Yeah.
And if they're going to fire you over it, then fuck them.
If they don't, and then the boss, no one wants, like, I feel like, dude, if you're not happy at your job, you're almost, like, to a boss, that's not good either, because your production and shit is down, and then you're just like, oh, well, I don't care. When you stop caring about your job or whatever, it's like, dude, you gotta make a change. Like, if you're not gonna care or anything, it's like, you're not doing anybody good. You're not doing the company, yourself. You're, and especially with us, it's like, dude, you got to be happy. No one knows how long you're here, but you want to be happy. If you're gonna be sad all the time, or
you can't really be creative if you're fucking upset.
Yeah.
You're
not going to be productive on anything, You're not going to... I feel like if you're going to be sad all the time, or if you're, just not happy with your thing, I feel like you're going nowhere.
That's a pretty crazy story of how you got a job at Octane.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, it's... Like, it's such a weird one, because I've probably told it, I don't know how many times to people. And it's just like... Because... I was talking last week and I was telling it, and they were like, well, how'd you get to Sioux Falls? And it becomes a rabbit hole thing, it becomes a rabbit hole thing of being like,
I know what you mean.
Do you really want, like, I'll tell you the short version, and then they always want the long version. They're like, well, how did this all happen? And then it's just like, why did you go to UND? Or what happened at UND? And it's like, well, personally from... all the shit that happened at UND, even my senior year, what I had to go through with,
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, because I just closed down the shop in November. But that was a whole, like, in college, like, I used to design race cars for people in college, and I was just running, like, a freelance business. But that wasn't even what I was known for. Like, I was known for... I don't even know if I posted it on here. It's on here somewhere. Oh, yeah. This one.
I was going to bring this up next.
Yeah, so... in college, I just make random designs for stuff. And we were going through a name change. Well, we were... When I went to UND... When we both entered UND, we were the University of North Dakota.
Yeah,
nothing.
In 2012, the year that like, my acceptance letter has "Welcome to the Sioux family" written on it. So, like, it has a Sioux logo. I have it in my room. So, like, when we got in, we were accepted into the Sioux tradition and blah blah blah. And then when we get there, it's just the University of North Dakota, because since then, time has elapsed and the name got taken away by the NCAA because Wisconsin and Minnesota wouldn't play us if we kept the nickname. So, okay, lost the nickname. And then they were taking on a vote for a new name, and we ended up with the Fighting Hawks. And then that's where we get into this story of getting the graphic down, and they were... You know what, I'll just let you... This is where you can take over.
So, yeah, when we were going through that name change, like, they were constantly letting students and former students, too, I think, if you graduated, you got to students. Vote. And we all got to see the lists of, like, everybody got to put in an entry if you wanted. Yep. And the entry list was literally hilarious. You could read through it and be like, any animal or anything that you could possibly think about was the University of North Dakota freaking crackheads. It was like,
there was one on it.
Yeah, and then we all got to vote. And, well, we all got to vote, and it just kept coming down to, like, 4, yeah, 5. 2. And I think they released, when it was at 4, I released, sorry, I had to burp. They released 4 of them. And at this time, you know, I'm a graphic designer. I used to look at concept logos of like what a team could look like if this designer designed their logo or redid it. And I was always fascinated by that. So like I started just in my spare time at college, you know, you have so much downtime, I feel like, for my major anyway.
Your major, not
so
for
like
everyone's.
For me, I was doing really good because you know, I didn't
so much downtime in college. Who the fuck ever says that?
Yeah, like I was lucky enough to be you know, my major was really easy
for
for
me. Business majors.
Yeah, I tell everybody, I'm like, they're like, do you use your degree or whatever? And it's like, don't need my degree for what I do. And I tell everybody, like, yeah, I used that 4 years to grow up. I thought it was so fun to like, to not grow up, I guess. Like, it's another mistakes. Yeah, hey, I want to be 4 years without parents or anything, and just like live life, and that's what I did. And
when I left for college, my grandpa told me my grandpa was a very modest person, but he told me that I need to do college in college so that I don't do it after.
Yep. I feel like
when he told me, I'm like, okay.
Like, there's stuff in college that, like, even now, we're not even out of college that long.
And you're like,
but, like, the year after, I was like, holy cow, dude. How did we wake up on Saturdays? I remember our natty title run. I tell everybody this. It's like, dude, I remember waking up on a Saturday.
I'm about to throw up right now just talking about that.
Yeah. 10 o'clock, and they would pass around a bottle of Jose Gold, and we would take polls on every stoppage of play in the hockey game in the playoffs. Yeah, we obviously the first period you'd have to stop, but it's just like, yeah. So Jesus, you hear that?
Is that you?
Yeah, I don't know.
That was my cat
stomach.
like growling or something.
So yeah, back to this. I was making logos, just, you know, they're probably really bad, and this one I made and I wrote. So like when I made it, I made sure I was like, they weren't going to let, the UND already released that they weren't going to allow any entries of what it's going to look like.
Yeah, from the students.
Yeah, from the students or anybody. They're going to pick a firm. You had to apply to be in a firm. So, and the way that the application for the firm was so
let me just clear that up real quick because you just skipped over something. So basically, they would only allow entries from firms, and firms had to apply to the university to make logos. So what Blaine and some of his friends did was combine to create a firm within the university and then apply as a firm to properly submit a logo, and they got rejected even then. So UND was actively forcing students out of this. Yeah, so like our graphic design teachers, our whole side of business, actually, even like the entrepreneurship and business side, like Tim O'Keefe and everybody were trying to, they were supporting us because everyone but the
because you had to like they had to. I had the graphic design teachers trying to write up everything. They were going to write up everything, but you needed 2 trademark logos. Which, if you know anything about that,
that's
a lot of stuff
is dollars in a long time.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's not trademarked. So most companies don't have a trademark logo to begin with, unless you're a brand.
Most don't.
Yeah, you don't need one. You don't need
most
one.
hockey teams don't. Like Grand Forks Youth Hockey, not trademarked. So that's why there's so many people just printing that shit up because no one owns it.
So that was they made it so we couldn't, but we were gonna try anyway. So we had to have, and everybody, if you were a firm, you had to apply and you had to have 3 concepts. Well, at the time, I had already made this logo. And I remember I was sitting in my apartment, and my buddy Goody, my roommate at the time, I showed him it, and we're like, oh, cool, man, that's really cool. And I was like, yeah. And I posted it, and
it blew the fuck up.
Yeah, so like, well, it didn't blow up right away, so like, I wonder if it's still on here. I
don't know, man. I saw some people in Pennsylvania posting this shit. Like, yo, did you guys see this?
Think if you type in Fighting Hawks logo,
it shows up before our actual one, dude. It actually does.
Like, it's on there. Like, it's legit on there.
Yeah, right out there.
And I see right there. It's compared.
I know.
Grand Forks Herald. Like, I somehow made
the first fucking picture.
And I think I wonder. so this is the one that I originally made.
Yeah, that one was pretty
This
cool
one
too.
was for the petition. I didn't even know this. Yeah, so one of my buddies started a petition on change.org for me to actually be able to design it. This is before I even designed the one that's now known. But, and I think...
Didn't you do that one right there, too?
No, that's from somebody else. Okay. But, so, like, when we were at UND, they were like... We had, like, 2 other designers come up with 2 other logos so they could, so we could enter... And they were going to use mine as, like, the main one, I guess, as the thing. So I went in and did everything to it. I think if I go to Behance. Concept right here, I think. Yeah, right here. So I uploaded the whole thing. I can send Jake this link if you want to check it out. But I went in and I was like, well, you got to look professional if you're going to do this. So, like, I made this logo and I... whatever I was trying to enter to win this.
Let me put it up on the screen quick.
Okay.
So I can see what the fuck you're doing.
Shoot, yeah. I don't know why. But so I went in and, like, made everything kind of to where it was really easy for somebody to visualize what it looked like as our logo. And,
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so I made the logo, and then I made a custom font for the first time, and then I made jerseys. I made what it looked like on the Alaris Center, right. And we're not even on there.
Fucking right.
So then I made it to where it's like what it looked like in black and white, what it looked like with an outline, whatever. I picked out.
You made the color wheel. Oh my
God.
God.
I made the exact colors so you could use it. It's like a brand. Like I get it all the time. We get people that are brand guidelines, and they'll give you specific stuff that you can't use any other colors other than these. So then I made all the word marks for like,
holy shit,
and
I didn't even see all this.
Yeah, so I kind of went, because I was like, if I can be the creator of this logo, it's going to be...
Yeah, you'll be set.
Yeah, I thought it'd be sick. Like, because I still think it's crazy that I'm not even one, and there's people wearing my stuff.
So much cooler. God damn it, does it look cooler.
Yeah, and then I had, like, the jerseys, where it had home, away.
Look at those... Yes,
and
dude.
then it had the freaking
UND. You fucked up.
Then I had UND, the military.
You have fucked up.
And then the blackouts were my favorite.
That's dope.
And then I had what it looked like on the Alaris. I remade the Alaris Center, and then what it looked like on the Betty.
Even. Fuck.
Yeah, the Betty.
It looks dope on the Betty.
And then the jerseys for.
Basketball.
Yeah, shit. I didn't make them for the hockey team though because I felt like
apparel.
I never wanted.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, I know what you mean. You don't want to piss off the hockey
team. At the same time, I never wanted. I feel like the hockey team should have been left alone.
Yep, I really feel like they should have been left alone too.
I really think that UND, everybody would be okay with this if they left alone the hockey team with their logos. So
they really would be. Everyone was. Because that was the only team that fully embraced the Sioux logo in the first place. None of the other teams actually gave a shit, unfortunately.
Yeah, so, everybody else, I think it was good for, the basketball team and everything. We finally got, a logo or something. But, yeah, leave alone the hockey team. So I left the hockey team completely out of this because I was like, I don't want to be, no matter what the logo could have been, the greatest logo of all time for the hockey team. But no one would have went with it because the reason why we were all in this was because of the hockey team. Yep. And, so I looked at it like I didn't want to even... And I was making this...
Well, that's the one thing that I love when people... What about the hockey team, bro? Or why doesn't the hockey team... It's because they have 8 banners hanging in there.
Yeah.
Okay? That's why.
Yeah.
Because they have 8 banners in a $500 million arena. Okay? So you guys do that. Yeah. You guys get those banners and all those championships. You guys build this arena. Do that. And then you can have a say in this. But until then, you didn't lead the charge on this. You didn't even use the Sioux logo. Most of them wore it on the little neck piece or some shit, but that's it. So I don't understand why does the hockey team have to play? Because the hockey team, you guys never agreed in the first place. There was never it's always been the hockey team is over here and then everyone else is over here. It's always been that way.
Yeah. Yeah, so I left them kind of out, and then I made this. So this doesn't even start where it so I made all this. They ended up, not even allowing us to apply. So all this stuff that I had done was kind of I just thought it wasn't wasted time, but it was just like, it was a bummer. So like everybody was mad. Like I've never heard of an uproar that bad.
What you did was what you did was prove, because they were trying to make it seem to everyone that they were listening to the students, but no, they weren't.
Yeah, and
they wanted the front that the students had to say, but the students never did.
So this is how I look at it. It makes no sense. So we got to vote on everything for the name and everything, but we didn't even get to vote on the logo. So I don't understand that.
Well, it makes you think: does our vote on the name even matter?
Yeah,
like did it, or like we're just trusting that was okay.
And then we trusted one dude to pick the logo, and he got 3. Like I look at it, they gave him 3 options. Mm-hmm. We don't know what the other 2 look like.
Nope,
we'll never know.
Nope,
they could have been better, but why didn't they allow us to vote on those 3 logos? We probably would have been even more happy, because then at the end of the day, it's like, this one had the most votes, you know?
Yep.
That's how you win.
Nope. Do you know how they? Do you know how much money, by the way, we spent on that logo? Just the logo. How much the logo
wasn't it $50?
$52,000. Just the logo.
And we lost. We actually had to cut programs for that $52,000. So.
Do you know how much it actually cost, the entire process?
Yeah, it was like $250, wasn't it?
No, more than that.
Because we had to rebrand everything.
$1.75 million.
Yeah, it's just
because they fucking put those plastic. We already had, because they also in the process retired our alternate logo, the ND. So all of the NDs that were up that we just spent $80,000 on, those big plastic light up pieces, take them down, make new ones, put the new ones up. So that's $160,000 2 times over.
Yep.
And just for that one thing, just because our fucking Mark Kennedy, who, by the way, he's under scrutiny at Colorado already.
Yeah, I know.
It's only been, fucking 6 months, and he's already down there. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, that guy fucked a lot of things up.
Yeah, and so, getting back to how all this started to blow up, I guess I posted this, and I think it got like 400 likes or something like that on Facebook. And people were like, yo, Blaine, he goes there, and everybody was like sharing it and being like, This kid actually goes to UND. He's a student. He's in the graphic design major. And we're literally not allowing him to, even try to attempt. So, whatever. I posted that in December. And I think they had already picked the firm. And one of the kids on campus, was friends with Nick that was in our dorm. Mm. And Nick had showed him the logo, and he was the head of the Dakota Student. Is that the?
Yep, he was the editor-in-chief of the Dakota Student.
So I get a call, and he's like, "Hey, we want to do an interview," and I was like, "Oh," and they're like, "Yeah, you made that logo, right?" It's like, "Yeah." I go in and have an interview. I think it's the Dakota Student article still comes up, but
yep.
So then. He decides to put it on the front page of the Dakota Student, this logo.
It was the front page.
So
big ass.
Yeah,
story.
The university newspaper has my logo on it, being like, this kid goes to school here, and he made this, but we're going through another, Yep. So, and I think everybody was trying to do this tide where it's like, this kid went to UND, and they're not even going to allow him to even compete against this firm.
Dude, fucking news people were like,
yeah. So then this all happens, I go, I think it's my junior year, and I'm working at a distribution company, so I'm delivering beer, and we were all waiting. I remember I was watching it live, the unveiling of the new logo,
it was...
and I watched it live, got to see it, and then all of a sudden, social media blows up. People went from,
people were, I've never seen people so
mad,
pissed off.
Yeah, so then, my brother, he posts, he grabs both of my logo and puts it underneath the actual logo, the new one, and he's like, logo. This one was paid for $50,000, and this other one is the one my brother made. He posts it, I'm at work, and I'm up by Canada, so I didn't really get reception. I get done with my stop, and I had max notifications on Facebook.
Plus.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden I was getting phone calls, and they're like, "Hey, this is blah 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 from the Grand Forks Herald, or this is from the Fargo Forum. Can you give us a call back? We saw your logo, and we want to do an interview on how this all happened." And I'm like, "Huh?" So I call them back, and then they're like, they go through this thing, and then they're like, "Well, we have already reached out to President Kelly, and contacted him, and he has no comment on your logo or whatever. And I'm like, are you kidding? And I'm going into my senior year at college. And then I start reading into it, and people start contacting me they're like, when can you get apparel? We want to make apparel and everything. This guy contacts me. I got into business with him kind of, but it just gets really bad to where like the news stations kind of contacted the university, and the university was having like no comment on what I had done, and mostly my logo had blown up more than theirs.
Yeah, their logo didn't blow up at all.
Yeah, and with dealing with that, they could, I had people calling. I literally had lawyers calling that were like, or messaging me being like, hey, just so you know, like you can get sued for defamation. Like that's a big thing. Like I'm mostly bringing down another logo. Their brand.
Really?
Well, in a way, you could probably, if you got a good enough lawyer, I feel like you could have got it. Like, to where, hey, it's just like if you're bashing.
At that point, students would start like rioting.
Well, this is so like the whole thing is I had to be safe when it came to if I was going to print logos. Well, like if I was going to make this and start selling it, the university could come after me and be like, yo, you're bringing down, this isn't trademarked mostly. So, because mostly I used everything but saying Fighting Hawks or anything. Because if I was to put Fighting Hawks on this thing, when I was selling it, they could come after me because, that's theirs.
Name.
Yeah, so like that was the whole thing. So I go and try to contact a trademark lawyer, because I'm like, I got to trademark this going into my senior year because I don't want to get kicked out of college.
I feel you.
So couldn't go through one in North Dakota because all trademark lawyers worked with the university and they didn't want to lose contact with them. So
really,
I literally called
political bullshit.
Yeah, because they don't. I get it. Whatever. So
I hate that shit. I really don't get it. Well, we want to stay fair with them, dude. Do your fucking job. How about you? How about you do your job? How's that sound?
So then this happens. So I get it trademarked. Well, I get in the process of trademarking. We start selling clothing in like one of the strip malls in Grand Forks.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people buying it. And it was kind of crazy because it was like you go to like a Sioux game or something and like people were wearing my hats and I didn't know these people. And then we go downtown, me and Bray, I tell everybody this. I was like, it was so cool going downtown and going into like Joe Black's or something. And Bray would be like, dude, that guy's wearing your logo. And Bray would walk up to him, be like, hey man, nice hat. Because we had it structured down. And the guy would be like, yeah man. You liked it? Look at this logo. Look who made it. Well, like a kid on campus made that. And he looks and he points at me and he's like, yeah, he did.
That guy.
And the guy was like, oh man, you guys want a beer? So like we just use it. I mean.
Thunder. Hey. You're interrupting our stories now, Kitty. Crossing the line. Thank you. Back to you.
So I thought it was so funny because I was using it like, I thought it was really cool. I still don't even really think about it that much.
The celebrity status is dope, dude.
Yeah.
It is. When everyone knows you, I don't give a fuck who you are. Whenever people know you everywhere, it's cool.
Well, yeah, and even my brother still, since he'll go into like a gas station, and they'll find out my brother's name, and they'll be like, do you know Blaine? or the guy will be wearing a cap. Like, there's still people that wear my stuff to the games and stuff, and then it's like, I walk by,
there was a jersey your logo was on TV. There was some dude wearing a fucking Fighting Hawks jersey with your logo on it.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, probably from that dude.
But it was on TV.
Yeah.
Like, it was on television. It's fucking dope.
And it comes down, like, it was so, like, I'd always have a hat, and I think, I'd walk around, and then it's just like, oh, dude, who made the logo? And it's like, I did. And I guess it got to the point where, I trademarked it. And then when we were in there, Shields and the Ralph had contacted us. But Shields, we had talks with Shields, but obviously the UND, because I trademarked this as a bird with feathers. That's how it's trademarked. It'll never, people, as I say it, it's like, it's trademarked as a bird with feathers. You can make out what the heck the thing means.
Whatever you want it to be, man. That's on you, bro.
Yeah, and the whole thing is I made it personal. Like on here, I even have it. I remember we put the North Dakota outline and starred Grand Forks in there, so it was personal.
It took me a long time to see that, by the way. It took me a very long time.
And that's like, I think that's really the only thing that puts this thing over the edge.
The hidden treasure.
Yeah, because really it's personal. Like, this could be any Fighting Hawk, but then they could use it on something. It's like, this literally has to be used for Grand Forks.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah. And I thought it was, you did that. We got local talks to get into Shields and everything, but obviously those fell through. And as, you know, I could have probably, once I moved away, it was kind of like, whatever, you know. But I think it's still cool. I go back and people always tell me, they're like, this should have been the logo. Or then I see it and it's like, where can I get the apparel or whatever? And I finally closed down the shop. Tried, I think, you know, hopefully.
I remember. We'll have to talk about that after this, actually. I've got something for you on that.
Yeah.
After this, we'll have to talk about that. But yeah, dude, definitely. I remember when, because I had that meeting with President Kelly about the whole name and everything. That one time, I was like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
You're whatever." And the reason he didn't like your logo was because he had an issue with the fact that our Sioux logo had the feathers on it, so that he doesn't want the bird to have the feathers on it. Where do you think the Indian got the feathers from? Do you think he grew those?
Yeah.
Or do you think a bird grew them? Like, it's a fucking feather. Of course it's going to be on the goddamn bird.
And I think
it's a feather, dude. But you look at the new logo and it doesn't have feathers on it. So he got his way, I guess.
Yeah, and it's just to the point where it's like, it's so hard. Like, I told everybody, even on those news interviews, I'm like, you know, I think, you know, the logo isn't bad. It's grew on me a little. I like it for some of the athletic stuff, good. But I'd never bash it, because there's no point in me bashing the logo for being like, I'm not mad that they didn't pick mine at the end of the day. I'm just like,
people are mad at that's one of the biggest misunderstandings about this. No one's really that mad. Like, okay, the name happened. It happened. All right.
Yeah.
People don't like how it happened.
Yeah.
There's a way of doing things. You could have been cool about it. Because honestly, if that would have been the logo, I guarantee you the student body would have embraced it a fuckload more. Because you still go to these freshman orientation, they're like, all right, say Fighting Hawks on 3, 1, 2, 3, and everyone yells Sioux.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, if you would have said, like, a student made this logo, it's like, we are doing our best to transition. If you'd have been, like, honest and upfront about it, it would have been a much different approach. But you were mischievous little bitches, and you fucking used our money to be cunts, and this is how it ended up now. Now it's a violent, weird... It's just now it's weird, and it didn't have to be. It could have been a good thing for everyone, and now it's weird.
Yeah, and I always tell everybody, I'm like, you know, this could have happened at any other university, and it wouldn't have blew up as much. But you're talking North Dakota takes their shit, like when it comes to the bison and the Sioux, literally, like,
that's it.
Yeah,
that's religion.
It's so bad that, like, you know, North Dakota embraces Carson Wentz like God. You know?
Yeah.
Like, he was the hugest thing. Oh my God. Everybody has, like, his jersey sales were probably the most because
they were
literally
back-ordered.
Yeah, because
back-ordered.
Just North Dakota was just happy that they had a guy in the NFL, you know?
Just importing it
so,
by
like,
the dozen.
when it came to this, it was like, this was more than the university. It was North Dakota as itself. Literally, there are people that didn't even they lived in North Dakota, never went to college, and they were uproared because they're like...
Dude, people got shot over this. Like, this was not... Remember there was that one student outside the Ralph that one time that was, like, yelling, Hawks, 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 like being a cunt just outside the building? He got his ass kicked.
Yeah, I feel like...
He got the shit kicked out of him. Like, people were not having it for a long time. People still aren't having it.
Yeah, it's so... Yeah, the drama has never really ended.
It's so
like,
unfortunate that there's so much drama around it, because it didn't have to happen this way. It didn't have to. It didn't have to go down this way, man.
Yeah, and then I feel like, oh, it was so bad. So like, I remember with all the sharing and stuff, I could go and see what people were commenting, and I'm okay with people not liking the logo that I made. For me,
yeah.
You
got some threats?
Oh yeah, I got threats. I got threats on Facebook from older people,
like death threats.
Yeah, there's
over a fucking logo.
I remember that. So yeah, that I forgot all about those, but obviously, you know, as a designer or anything, not everybody's gonna like what you do or what you make or whatever. So like, I made this logo
but you don't threaten my life over it.
So like, I make this logo for fun. I made it for fun. It wasn't like they didn't even, you know, no one paid me to do any of that.
No,
and I did this for fun, and it blew up, and this is how this happened. You know, but for this, I was getting people that were literally Facebook messaging me, and the only reason I like looked at them was because they'd have like a message request, and I'd click on it, and they'd be like, you know, there was people trying to critique my stuff and be like, yo, you should do this, and then you should make another one, or hey, do this. And then there was people that were like, you skewed the voting. Your logo gave people a picture of what it could look like, and that's why they picked the Fighting Hawks. Like, that was when I made that first one or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And then it was like,
the other options were like Sundog and it's like dumb shit. Like,
so
North Stars. It's like, okay, what are we, Minnesota now? Yeah. No, it wasn't because of the fucking picture that you made. It was because we had some dumb fucking choices.
Yeah, and then, like, people were just calling me, like, a shitty person and stuff, and it's like, dude.
God damn.
You're, like, and I take it in, I was like, dude, people do this? Like, you're so...
People are crazy, man.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, whatever, man.
I should show you some. I uploaded a picture of that one thing that guy sent me a message of my joke. Oh, you deleted your fucking post, you pussy ass little bitch. Like, oh my god, dude, you guys need to fucking relax.
And then, like, for me, I was just doing this, I'm doing it for fun. Yeah. This wasn't even supposed to blow up. Like, if you were to tell me that thing was going to blow up, I would be like, whatever. And then it did. But that doesn't get, like, the people were like, yo, fuck you, mostly, you're not, you shouldn't have did this, whatever. And then, obviously, the uproar was, people were like, sell this, I want to buy it. And
for like every one threat, there was like 100,000 people who thought it was dope. So,
yeah, and
it's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I mean, it's still crazy because, like, it's just, people still ask about it, and whenever I go up there. To this
day, people like it.
Yeah, and then, the only thing that I get kind of annoyed of, I guess, like, great that you like the logo, but everybody says the same, like, it's mostly like programmed into their head to say it, but they're like, they probably they should have picked your logo, and it's like, yeah, but they didn't, man. Like, it's been 4 years, something like that. I don't know. 4 or 5, yeah, it's probably almost.
No, wait, okay,
4 years.
2016 was when it went into effect, so it's 4 years. God damn, 4 years.
So I look at it and I'm like, yeah. I mean,
that was quick.
Like, yeah, they should have picked your logo. Cool, but they didn't, and now I'm like, that almost makes. I wonder if this has the views on it. But yeah, like, I think
I've never even heard of Behance before.
Yeah, this is like, this used to be see, look, it's got 30. This was in a week, 30,000 views and 1,000 likes on. Then this is all for graphic designers. But
did you make that one next to it too?
Yeah, I made this when we won the title. I made this on the way. This is. Me and Bray were doing some. I can't remember. Yeah, I uploaded that right after.
I don't know what's going on with my monitor, but it's not mirroring very well, so I'm just going to look at your screen.
That's fine. Yeah, that one.
That's pretty dope.
But it's just like, I get that it's not my logo. Well, I didn't make the logo. It kind of, but it would have been cool. I feel like
Of course it would have been cool.
Like, that was the whole thing, because I was looking at it like, they didn't even need to pay me. They could have gave me just rights for it for like a small percentage for the rest of my life or whatever, and I would have been okay. But even if it was to never come out to like 50 grand, I would have been happy. Yeah, because I would have thought it would be cool. Like, this is how I look at it. Even what's cool?
If it did come out to 50,000, it's going to a student who gave you like what? You paid 50,000 in fucking tuition. Yep. Fuck off, like, Jesus.
Yeah. I look at it at like, I always thought it would be cool. To this day, I think about it, and it's like, I could have been like, they could have gave me not a penny, but I think just the like satisfaction of being like, every time that they're doing something, this, dude. Like every time that they did something, it'd be like, yo,
you little part of use on them.
Yeah, forever. And then like, that's like still, Grand Forks still has my filter or whatever for like Snapchat. Yeah, down there, and like I see people use this all the time, and they. Like, it just... The thing is, like...
Explain that quick. You have a filter that Snapchat owns now, right? Snapchat owns this filter. They got it off of you?
Yeah, like, I uploaded it, because Snapchat gave you, like, the option to, like, create stuff for, like, filters.
So, Downtown Grand Forks is your Downtown Grand Forks, that's your work.
Yeah, I think it says Greater Grand Forks, and then it's got, like, the wheel thing.
Yep, the waterfall.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and...
that's fucking so
I remember when me and Bray... Because I uploaded it. And
people use that all the time.
And I remember getting confirmed. I got an email from Snapchat that said, "Yo, it's up." And I remember me and Bray being like, "Let's go down and check if it's up there." And we were at Bonzer's, and I looked in. I was like, "Dude, I have a Snapchat filter." And then like, because there wasn't any good. Like, I feel like the ones down there.
That was one of the first ones. There weren't good ones.
So now, and it's still up because I just had a person that was down there. I just started talking to him, and they were downtown, and I was like, yo, use my filter. And they're like, what? And they're like, oh, dude, you made that? It's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. People are still using it, and like, there's thousands of people that go down.
All my friends that go downtown use it.
And then it's like, dude, I get it. it's just like, that's so cool. You know, that's still up. It'll
be there forever. That's not going away.
I think I uploaded that thing in 2015. So, you know, 5 years.
5 years.
5 years of people just using that on their Snapchat.
How crazy is that we were in college? We went to We went to college like 6.5 years ago. We moved in. 6.5 years. That's fucking ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
Well, and it's really bad, like...
Oh, my Lord.
It's really bad when I still don't get... I got told that... What the heck was it? Yeah, this week. Like, how old are you? I'm like, 25. They're like, oh... And I was like, what? And they're like, oh, I thought you were... I could have realistically saw you as 18. And I was like, oh, great.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. It's like when I graduated college, the lady's like, oh, you graduated? Where are you going to attend college? No, I graduated college.
I have my diploma from the university. Yes.
Yeah, and they're like, oh. It's like, yeah. So, yeah, it's crazy that, like, it's been so long since we've been there. Because it's like, dude, I remember walking to Wilkie in the freaking tunnel still, you know, like...
Walking there at 3 a.m. and it's fucking disgusting and gross
and scary
as hell. Oh, man, I used to sprint.
I run.
Sprint.
Because you could hear everything.
And then, dude, I remember this one time, it was so fucking embarrassing. I, like, opened the door, and, like, you know how you went straight, and then there was the turn to go left? So I'm, like, just knees, chest, and around the corner comes this little Japanese girl, and I'm, like, panting, and I gotta, like, play it off all cool, like I wasn't just sprinting around down the corridor.
Or then, like, your buddies would tell you to come over to, like, one of the other dorms, and you'd have to walk there, but you couldn't get in. You'd have to wait for it,
outside the door,
and it's like,
or some shit.
You're like, and then you walk up, and it's like, yeah, and then you're just sitting there, and it's like, hope to God they come.
Have you seen Brandon since they renovated?
No.
It's gorgeous.
Wow, dude, everything was... Dude, we had, like...
Remember our fort?
Yeah.
Remember that fort that we got in massive trouble for? Yeah. They're like, what do you want to do about this? We had every piece of furniture stacked up and fucking hilarious.
See, and I miss, like, our wing was so cool compared to the other wings.
We were the only wing
because we would have we had some people in that wing that, like, they were, like, closed off, but, like, we literally had our doors open that were just, like, yo, walk in, whatever. Yeah. Or people would just walk in and be like, yo.
It was, like, pretty much, like, just one of those. It was like we all lived in this little fraternity, and, like, the doors were just open. You go to my room to fucking... Because I had that single dorm.
Yeah.
And because my roommate was low-key scary.
Yeah.
And and then he was cool in the end. He was just a little different.
Yeah.
A lot. Remember that? Remember when he walked around? I remember this one time... he filled up a cup full of Captain Morgan, just straight Captain Morgan. It reeked. And he's walking around the wing just sipping it while there's, like, RAs around and shit. We're like, dude, get that the fuck out of here, man. Holy
I don't even remember, but, like, halfway through our second semester, me and Bray got our roommate across, like...
Oh, dude.
And he was never
Dylan.
There. Yeah, or whatever. He was just like... Dude, it was so cool because for the first year, the first semester, we just didn't have anybody there, so, like... Me and Bray would just chill in ours and, like, we could do whatever. But gosh, dude, that guy...
Dylan was weird.
Yeah, he just didn't associate with us, I guess. But
no, and we tried to get him to... Dude, get out here and hang out with us. No, all my friends are in Selkie still. Well, why the fuck did you move over here if all your friends are over there, dude? What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, so...
It was just weird. Just to kind of have, like, an occupying body that never wanted to talk to you. They were just, like, in the room, but pretended like they weren't... Like, they didn't see you.
Yeah, and I mean, like, luckily, like... I mean, I think back to freshman year, and it's like...
That was one of the best years ever, dude.
Yeah, it's so fun, because, like, you could just go... Like, you were meeting... Everybody didn't know anybody.
That was the dopest part about it, dude.
Like,
it was like everyone got
and then
fresh
you're
start.
in a community, and everybody's like, dude, let's all get through this together, because we're all the same age, and we're all trying to achieve one thing, dude. Yep. Survive.
Yep, you know? Basically.
Yeah. Basically, survive and have fun.
Dude, I went back and saw... one of Bray's earlier Twitter pic before I was on Twitter, and he made his fucking profile picture, that picture of me passed out in a fucking snowbank. And I'm like, just dead in someone's snowbank, and Bray made that his Twitter picture for like 2 fucking years. Like 2 full years. It was just me.
Gosh, I think I remember that too.
God damn it.
Like, you think back and it's like, dude.
I didn't lose any fingers
it just
that
sucks.
night either.
It just sucks that it's not like it's that long ago, you know?
Yeah, well, that was back when drinking was fun because you had to, like, run from the cops if they showed up.
I know. I just drank last night.
And you're like,
well,
you know.
Fuck, I get really bad hangovers now. And I remember it's like, in college, we were just immune.
You were, dude.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like, if you're like, I don't think you should be drinking in high school, but once you're in college, I think you need to fucking.
I never drank until I was in college.
No, I think you just need to I think you need to throttle down in college though, because you should do that in college. That's when you get the recovery time of 14 hours,
and then you realize, and it's like, well, this is how I look at it. Everybody's like, oh, let's get, we're gonna get fucked up, or like we're gonna party, and then it's like. Yeah, but have you been to a college party when you're underage and you go to some place and it's like, oh my god.
And everyone's in the basement and it's 400 degrees and everyone's sweaty.
And then you have to scramble because somebody might have saw a cop and everybody's like, ah.
Remember that time that I think Goody and Bray jumped over the fucking balcony of the second story because Pro Dog came knocking on the door and they thought it was the cops?
Well, freaking, I remember we walked to a...
Pro Dog Security, by the way, is a security agency, so they weren't the cops.
We freaking had... So we used to trust Goody on finding us all where to go. He would always, we'd just go over to Goody's and we'd start walking from, what was that, Walsh? Start walking from Walsh and he'd be like, he had, you know, he always picked out the best times or whatever on the weekends, so we'd just follow him. And we were walking and he's like, I think this is the house. We walk in, three kids, you know. Walk into this house, walk straight to the basement, not even thinking about it. Walk downstairs, there's a person, and he's like, hi. I'm like, oh, this isn't the house.
This house wasn't. Just some
random,
Just walk into some dude's home. Hey man, what's up?
No, wrong house. Like they were
here to party, dude.
Yeah, there was like three people in the basement or something like that, and they're like, we're like, oh no, this isn't the house. So we just like got it. I just walked in because everything was unlocked. You know, it's just like a North Dakota house. You know, everything's fucking unlocked. Just walked in and I was like, are you kidding? And he's like, oh, I thought that was a party. You know, fuck, it wasn't. You know.
Remember when Bray woke up in that dude's Jeep?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I've had stories. I've done that.
We were at Beta and like. He was like, "All right, dude, I'm gonna head up to Kappa Sig, man.
I remember that.
I'll text you when we're heading home." And like, I'm just still at Beta waiting for his text, and he never texts me. I go to the Kappa Sig, and he's not there. So I'm like, I don't know where he fucking went. Yeah. So I just went home, and the next day he's like, "Yo, I'm in a random Jeep. I need you to come get me." He's just fucking in some random dude's Jeep He made it across the street and 3 houses to the left from Beta, and then went to this dude's car.
Well, that was he also got he was also. I remember we were at a house and he was like, okay, I'm gonna walk home, and he walked to like the neighbor's house and slept on their lawn chair or something like that.
Yep.
And the guy had to wake him up in the morning.
Yep.
That was the same. Like I had that happen at a racetrack. I partied and my brother had a white car, and for some reason I thought that this white car was my brother's, and it wasn't. I opened up the passenger side door, freaking. I was like, oh, here's a car, whatever, passed out. Woke up to a guy, there was a person sleeping in the back seat, I guess. Guy taps me on the shoulder at like 8 o'clock, and he's like, hey, man, I don't know who you are, but I got to get to work, man. Like, can you get out? And I was like, oh, shoot, man, sorry, dude. I thought this was my brother's car. So like, at 6 a.m., I walk, well, no, like 8. Yeah, it was 8. I walk back, and I find my brother's trailer in the thing, and my brother's passed out, you know. I open up the door and he's like, where were you? And I was like, dude, I just slept in some guy's random car. And like, I was like, gosh.
I remember when you came to visit. That's when I was still living with Bray for those 2 weeks. We didn't know where you were.
Yeah.
I open the door and Bray comes in and we're like, where's Blaine? And like, as we're talking about where you were, you called Bray's phone. And we're like, dude, where are you? And you're like, dude, I'm out in my car.
Yeah, so that whole night was supposed to be, so Jake's supposed to, you know.
Come get you guys.
Yeah, come get us.
And then he was off, dude. Call me when you need a ride home, dude. And I get home and fucking pass out.
So me and Bray, this is where so Bray.
My bad, dude.
We're leaving the bar. Bray doesn't even tell me that he doesn't have a cell phone. So I'm like, dude, there's a pizza parlor 6 blocks down. Let's run. Well, I started running. I don't know why. And I was probably running way fast. And I ran down an alley. I remember running down an alley and looking back, and Bray was not there. So I tried calling him. Didn't answer. Obviously didn't know that he didn't.
Is that when you rented that bike?
Yep. Yeah, so I barely know how to get back to the apartment because I've barely been in Minneapolis. And it's, you know, you guys are outside of Minneapolis. So I get in a lift or whatever. They drop me off. I pass out in the lift or whatever, wake up, and I remember them being like, "You're here," and I get out, and it's just these apartment complexes, and I'm like, "Called you, didn't answer," and I was like, "Are you kidding?" And I was like, "Well, I guess I do have a blanket." I remember, I was sober enough, or I had so much. I knew that I had a blanket in the back seat of my car. Climbed into the, just passed out, and then in the morning I find out that Bray had to rent a bike and bike 11 miles. A
city bike. It's one of those ones that you like rent from the sidewalk, and then you
like you're only supposed to go
weighs like 40 pounds.
Yeah.
It's fucking heavy.
It's like the traditional heavy bike.
One gear. He rode that bitch 17 miles home.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then I freaking woke up.
Fucking triathlon. Bike ride.
I woke up and I think I got let in at 8 o'clock. They let me into the. And it's like, are you kidding?
It's because I only woke up because Bray was throwing rocks at the window.
Yeah, and I didn't know what apartment they were even in, so like I couldn't.
It was like one of those fucking, like, he was tossing rocks at the window like he was like a boyfriend trying to get in at some girl's room. Like, hey, let me in. Like Christ, was that funny.
I've had way too many crazy nights with fucking Bray.
Yeah, you guys, every time I've gone out with you two together, it's been pretty...
Yeah, this one was pretty chill this weekend.
Well, it's because I wasn't doing it this weekend. I didn't want to die again.
Well, we didn't. I feel like if we would have went downtown,
you guys started to hit the throttle on fucking Topgolf with those 2 buckets of beer.
Oh, I was. Yeah,
you guys really hit the throttle down with those ones. There was 2 people drinking, and there was 2 entire buckets of beer, and then they were all gone.
Well, and I don't like I guess it's like, I always tell everybody, they're like, "Oh, you're going to see Bray," and it's like, yeah, dude, me and Bray are not a good combination together. That's why Michaela, she's always like being like, "You guys are gonna take it, I'm chill, right? Because me and Bray are going to Lawrence. This is what's gonna be bad." So we're going to Kansas.
I think it's gonna be good. I disagree with
Kansas. So yeah, my favorite college.
I'm gonna hear stories, and then we're gonna talk
and
about
me and Bray have never been like, if you get us together, one of us is doing something, I feel. And most of the time it's him. He usually runs away or something. But
throws his phone in the bush behind Target and then crosses the interstate on foot.
Yeah, that was the night that we both got.
That was a fucked up night.
No.
Anyway.
Nothing's better than Bray fell. Bray fell in the mud.
Dude, I'm in the mud.
He's got to ruin his favorite pair of khakis.
In the mud.
Yeah. And then he's just sitting there just
patting around in the mud.
I had a Snapchat story the day before my birthday.
We don't want to throw him under the... I'm not going to be on the podcast, so I don't want to get all that shit out there. All right, we'll just talk about it for you. We'll just...
When he fell, I knew that I wasn't going to get that guy out, dude. Bray, he fell in a freaking mud pond.
Like a pond of mud. Like not a little pile.
Yeah.
Not like a spligent. No. A full fucking...
I remember the cops coming up to me. Well, like us, he was sitting on the sidewalk. We got him out. And they're like, "Is he all right?" And we're like, yeah, he's okay. He's like, "Good, because I didn't want him to muddy up this car or whatever." And they drove away. And then Bray ended up running away that night and somehow making it home. And I remember...
He made it home.
He, showered or something. Well, no, there was mud.
There was mud all inside.
Because you didn't know what was... You stayed in that night.
I was so confused. There was mud from, the door of the apartment all the way into my actual door to my apartment. And then... from the door to the building, onto the carpet, into my hardwood floor, all across... The bathroom was a fucking war zone. There was just mud everywhere. Muddy clothes were on the couch, and then Bray was in his room and just his underwear passed out. What happened? What the fuck?
And then, he didn't really remember either, and it was just like...
I woke up to just a scene. Oh my god, what happened last night?
Yeah, it was so funny. And
then two random Native Americans. One dude sleeping on the floor of Luke's bedroom, and then the other dude was on the carpet in the living room with his car running outside all night. What? I didn't even know these guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a fun evening for me.
And then I remember, that night I made those Snapchats, and then I woke up the next morning, and I had so many people just laughing or being like, "Oh my god." And then I had to go back and look at it, and now that I have it saved, I show it. If there's one thing, I'm like, people still to this day will be like, update, because I used to do this all the time. Every time that I'd go on a walk to Red Pep from Joe Black's, the normal commute, I'd just make a Snapchat thing that would be like, update, we're here, update, oh, we're here. And then now it got to the point where it's like, Bray fell in the mud. He's gonna ruin his favorite pair of khakis.
He did ruin it. He had to throw those away.
God,
he had to fucking throw those away the next day. I remember the shameful look on his face as he was
and then
away
the next night,
khaks.
And then the next night after that, Bray got back. Bray didn't drink, I don't think.
Nope.
And he got back. Well, that was my birthday, and I accidentally chucked. Well,
it was not.
I walked into my buddy's apartment, and I made a peanut butter sandwich and chucked the peanut butter at the wall. And he didn't talk to me for a week, and I didn't know it, so I rode my bike down there, and he's like, dude, I don't even want to talk to you. And I was like, why? And he's like, you trashed my apartment. And then I didn't realize that I did. He's like, dude, there's peanut butter on the ceiling.
We left with the peanut butter on the ceiling, too.
Yeah. And I remember, and then Bray had I was like.
Yeah, but Bray low-key killed you one night, and so,
Yeah, he's done.
He literally choked you out one night to the point of, like, I might actually die tonight.
I know. When he did that, I thought. And then he comes. Then the next day, he comes over and asks me if I want to go to the football game.
He didn't even know he did.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I'm mad at you. And he's like, why? And I was like, dude, look at my neck. And there's like freaking handprints on there. I was like, dude, you were. He's like, oh, I don't remember.
Bray turns into Ted Bundy. When
God, I was like, come on, man. No, dude. And then we ended up going there, and he's like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. And I was like, oh, yeah, dude.
I had to wear a scarf.
Yeah.
I remember
I think that I got hickeys on my neck in there, actually, from brutal wounds.
One morning when you fucking...
Oh.
Yeah, see, here's Bray.
What?
You head out or what?
No.
What are you doing?
We're still talking.
Are you still on the podcast?
Yeah, you're on the podcast.
You're calling in live. Holy shit. This is Bray. Remember I said he makes an appearance?
It's been going for like 2 hours now.
Ah, that's what happens when you set up a half-hour podcast. It's a 2-hour-long thing.
Yep.
Yeah, told you.
That's what happens. Where'd you guys go?
I'm probably going to go deliver some Uber for a bit. Let me know when you're done.
Okay, where'd you guys go?
We went to get pedicures.
Oh, Bray went and got pedicures. Goddamn.
Yeah, I think I'm going to head out at like 1:30, I'd probably say.
Alright.
Okay.
Alright, see you, Bray. That was just a live call-in from Bray. You guys are... Jesus, you guys are going on like fucking tour. Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
Anyway, one more I was going to talk about. So you drive... So what is your kind of been your... How long have you been racing then? Do you still race?
Yeah, I race, I guess, whenever I can. I race like 2 times a year right now. It's really died down because I live 9 hours away from my car and my dad. So, like I have been, I flew back last time, but it's such a long drive.
Yep.
I guess to do that. So, usually I used to race, I think it was 50 times a year.
Damn.
I think that was the most
50 times a year? That's like once
I think that was the most. Yeah, it was once a week in the summer. But I think, well, we also raced 7 days straight, 7 days straight or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, they have like a tour where we travel around North Dakota and raced, and it was mostly a hell tour. Because when you're doing it with like 3 people and you got 2 cars, we're changing gears, and I remember you just wake up, go to a hotel parking lot and it's the hottest time of the year. The week after 4th of July.
Yeah, it's a really hot week. Always.
90 degrees at 10 o'clock,
fucking
and you're changing gears underneath a race car with no AC or anything, because we're broke budget. But
fuck that.
Yeah. So now I just, the car sits there in my shop, and it's really, my dad just, I don't try, I guess. I'm not trying to win. I go there and have fun, I guess, more or less. So it's
but you're not trying to crash either
No,
anymore,
I'm trying to have fun, and yeah, there's potential that I could win, maybe. Doubt it. But at the end of the day, like, I'm mostly going there for my clients, because I think it's, so cool. I go there, and it's like, the tracks that I race at, I do probably 60 to 70% of the cars. So
it means a lot more if you drove the car that you're making the rap for. It means a lot more to that racer because he knows that you know what it's like to be in the car.
It's so you go up to him after a race and they just hand you a beer.
It's like an identity thing. Yeah, it's an identity thing.
And then they go in. And it's like I tell everybody. It's like I remember I remember sitting down in college and these people being like, what kind of graphic designer do you want to be? Or what do you want to work for? Most people that go into graphic design want to be in marketing or whatever, or design logos for companies or something. And it's like, dude, I want to design race cars. And then it's like, I think it's badass that my canvas is a car going around a racetrack,
Yeah.
Like,
that is dope.
People have art. I like art a lot. They hang it up in houses or whatever. But this one sits in the freaking garage, and then on the weekends it goes out and tries to win races or something. And it gets beat up, does all that stuff, gets dirt and grime. Goes through war, It's just like anything. It's just so...
Isn't your banner picture on your Facebook like your fucking car with dents all in it
and
shit?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't even know where...
Yep,
yeah, that one's...
all scratched up and shit.
I think it's, it's just weird. You go back and, like, when I walk in, it's so cool. You walk into the pits, and it's like, you get to count how many cars you've designed of yours. And then it's like, it's like our logo's on all those, and it's so cool. And then now, the track that, my home track that I have spent, I've went to since I was born. I think my mom and dad used to bring me to the racetrack all the time. I designed their logo, so like their logo of the racetrack is designed by me.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Williston, so that was this year, and then I designed T-shirts, and they're the new like 20th anniversary for Estevan, the track that I also raced at when I was racing. So it's like these guys give back to me, I guess, and they trusted in me, and it's like, well, I'm like local up there, but I'm not. I live in Sioux Falls now, and I have no real ties to Sioux Falls, I guess, racing, really. But it's like, you go back there, and they're like, hey, we're going to go through you.
Sioux Falls? What do you mean?
Well, like...
Don't you make a bunch of raps for people in Sioux Falls?
Yeah, well, not like around that area, because like there isn't very many racetracks around there, which is surprising. But like, we do stuff for people, but they're not like directly from Sioux Falls, I feel. And most of my clients are from North Dakota, because it's all... North Dakota has got like this big backing on.
Yep, if you're from there, they back you the fuck up.
Yep. So like it's it's like we would rather this kid do it, or I raced against this guy. Like that's the craziest part. It's like the only reason that they're coming through me, I feel sometimes. I mean, I guess I do pretty good, but it's like, man, this guy is from North Dakota. He does this. We're gonna go through you, and it's so cool because it's like there's literally I'd probably follow and Facebook friends with probably 30, 40, 50 people that design race cars, or own sign shops that design some. And it's like, they have prices that are different than ours and everything. And it's like, well, you guys still choose to go through me. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yep.
It's just like everybody hits up, it's just like you could have literally went online and had somebody design your logo, or something. And it's like, it comes down to
Squarespace was going to do it for free.
Yeah. Well, that's how...
But I didn't want it for free. I wanted someone to do it right. So I went and got it from you.
Well, and it's like you can go on, now it's becoming everybody... Like, I hate saying that I'm a graphic designer because it's such not...
I know what you mean. Dude, I barely tell people I'm a stand-up comedian because right now that's like the thing to do. Everyone wants to be a fucking comedian.
Well, everybody can be a graphic designer. You can download.
Anyone can make random shit with their computer, dude. That's whatever, though.
Anybody can be creative. Like if I was to give you a piece of paper, you could write down like your name, and that's cool. It could be cool enough to be a logo, and that's people can do that. People can draw and everything. So it's like, well, I just make it so specific that it's like, yo, I design that other stuff too. But like, if you really want me to get into the gist, like, I design race cars. Most people that are graphic designers don't, I guess. And then I draw race cars now too for the t-shirts, and it's just like,
do you like have a printed out portfolio of some of your work that you like hand clients and shit?
Don't.
You should do that.
I know. Well, it just gets to the point where like
past work here. This is the car that I made for this guy. This is
because now that we were trying to figure out how much stuff we've done or like printed and shipped out, and it's so hard to count because like I thought about doing that too, to being like, how many race cars did I do this year? And I lose track, we do.
That's a
good
problem to have.
Yeah, and then it's like even like some of my stuff, I really don't even like my artwork for t-shirts. You look back and it's like, oh, dude, I forgot I even did that one. And it's only like because you do so much, like at work. I mean, constantly you're doing jobs, so everything gets the next design's better. And then now I look back and it's like 2 years ago, I look at my art and be like, oh my God, it's just so bad.
It is not
like even this, like that logo. If I could remake it, I thought about doing a remake.
Remake it.
Yeah.
Fuck it, just for the fuck of it.
I know, and then I could make it so much better
with all that free time you've got. Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing, and like even so, that's why I tell everybody like it's like it'd be cool to have a tattoo, but I don't think I could because I think if it was, it'd have to be like just plain text. The thing is, every time I look at my work, a week later. I'm like, oh my God, I did that.
Would you ever be like a tattoo artist? You ever considered that?
No, I would never. I don't trust. I don't think somebody should trust me with like. I've had people try to get like me to design a tattoo for them, and then they'll
stencil it out.
Yeah, and like I'm cool with that, but I don't think I'd ever. I don't want to leave that much of a permanent impact on stuff. It's like
some people want that though.
Yeah, I know. Like. I'm not a good enough artist now. Maybe when
there's people who literally make it their. I mean, there's some guys at work. I'm like, oh, what? They're like, oh, I don't remember getting this one. It's like, Jesus, how do you not remember getting?
Yeah, well, and mine's just to the point where it's like, dude, I'd look at it and I'd be like, oh, I wanted it there.
Yep, but I wish that would have been done.
Like with me, I'd have to design it too because I don't think if it's gonna be. Personally, it's like, God. Yeah, I always, because that's the same with even designing like a logo. I think when I had a logo of Durward Designs that I did in college, I think I remade it every week because I just be like, you can't, everything every week, and it'd be like, oh, dude, I could do this better.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And now I feel like that's why I'm always scared. Like if I was to get something cool, I'd be like,
so I'm with jokes. My jokes never stay the same. They change a little bit every time.
Yeah, you almost have to because like you can't
funny over here. Like that was a little funny.
You can't say the same. Like. It's not. You don't want to have a scripted thing. It's all.
Yeah, when you hear the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, and like you can, like if I can go to your comedy thing and tell you exactly your first 30 minutes.
It's like fucking every time you see Jeff Dunham, it's the same goddamn show. Like I don't even. How is he still relevant?
Well,
he just had a new special on Netflix, and it was the same fucking Ahmed the Dead Terrorist.
And
it was the same. I kill you.
I always think it's got to be like It's got to be like the worst thing for like, I guess as an artist, for like a singer, I feel, dude, I don't know, but I don't think, like you make songs and then it blows up and then you're probably so happy. But can you imagine like, those people that are like, they're dying down, the bands have died down, but you got like, we were talking about it, it's like, what songs did Hinder make? Lips of an Angel, dude. Every play that they go to, well, no, specifically Trapped. Headstrong. Dude,
yep.
These guys could make 50 more albums. But guess what? At every concert, they have to play Headstrong because everybody's there to listen to that one song. No one even knows any other songs.
That's for real.
And you realize, like, can you imagine? You can't change up the lyrics to that.
No, you can't. That's your song.
You play it the exact same way.
Yep.
And they've been doing that. That song's been out since 2003, and it's on.
That's why you got to write bangers all the time. You can't just be stagnant with your shitty writing.
Like sometimes you that might blow up, and that might not even be the reason. Like that's just it was at the time, perfect timing.
It was a good song at the time.
And now everybody
for 2003. It's
every dog used that for a freaking everything. Every video that you would even watch on YouTube or like. A commercial about football or something. It was just like, dude, this song pumps me up so much.
Yep. It was a good song at the time.
Yeah, and now it's like to the point. Yeah, we get sick. I can't imagine them because I would never want to hear that song again. Like for me, I never want to look at some of my artwork again. It's just like, you get it over and over and over, and this guy literally has to sing something that almost defines him to people.
Unfortunately, yeah, it does kind of define them.
Yeah.
Read a song and then everyone...
Like, if you were to say Headstrong by Trapped, probably you've heard it, and then it's like, name another song by him. I know, I have other songs by him, couldn't even name the titles.
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, it's like, you just hear, like, names and it's only one song comes to mind or something, and most of the time, Led Zeppelin was a lot bigger than those guys, but it's like those one-hit wonders, man, like...
Led Zeppelin, were they really that big?
Yeah, they're pretty big, I think.
Were they?
I don't know.
I'm
not an 80s rock guy.
I guess so. The 80s almost killed everything. The 80s deserved to go to jail.
Yeah.
The 80s had too much crack in it.
Yeah, well, yeah, everybody just didn't. It's
you guys were all just trading syphilis like it was a card game. You guys need to fucking chill out in the 80s.
Yeah, I think that'd be... don't know if I could be that kind of artist where you're defined by, you know, that was the whole thing. Like, I never wanted this to define.
But at the same time, those guys kind of allow it to, because if you keep replaying it at every concert, let it go. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you gotta let it go too. Like Linkin Park didn't keep playing Hybrid Theory.
Yeah, like that was the best.
That was their best album, and they didn't just keep replaying it.
And then they kept recreating themselves. You know,
they moved on to Meteora, and they moved on to fucking what do they have? Minute to Midnight.
Yep.
Yeah, so like they moved on. They had new shit to do.
Yeah, and then
they got all super techno.
And then they came back, and then like I still to this day, dude, they probably would have been. They still would have been making bangers because they were like the first people to have like this rap rock thing.
The rap rock.
And then they had like techno. Yeah, and then they had like EDM in it, like, you know, to where it's like. But then they're like, now that you go back and look at it, well, like listen to it, it's like, holy Chester is literally talking about this stuff.
I know.
And that's how like that.
I know, that's how it always goes though. Once like when Mac Miller died, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!"
His last album, Self Care, is literally about. It's just
his big suicide note.
Well, and then you go like I feel
unfortunately, and no one noticed.
I didn't realize like once you start listening to lyrics of people, it's like, dude.
Oh fuck yeah! Have you ever heard "Hey Ya" by Outkast?
Yeah,
it's like one of the saddest songs ever written. If you listen to the lyrics,
yeah, it's just like, some of those, well, it's just like when Chester died, because I think we play, well, same with Mac Miller. I think me and my coworker, we just put it on, and it's like, dude, who's producing this song? And is like, you okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, are you really okay, dude?
Yeah, no, that's generally not. People who are in entertainment generally know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know, because like their highs and lows go for, you know, like they get put on a pedestal, and then they probably... To them, they could get shit on. And, I mean, for anybody, when you're high and you fall down and everything, it's like, oh my god. Yep. And for them, it's like, oh, money can buy you this, and then you realize that it can't buy you true happiness.
Can't buy you happiness or time.
Yep.
No,
and,
it can't.
You know, the people around you, if you're around the wrong people or whatever, it's just like, I got no support. And it's just crazy. Crazy. And then it's like, I guess... Everybody's so blinded, you know, people, you know, most of the people are like, oh, well, this guy was so happy. And then you really think about it, and it's like, yeah, well, you're only going to remember the happy times with these people. It's like, that guy might have been showing you signs,
man. The saddest motherfucker around, you just didn't look.
Like, yeah, that's why it's, geez, all it takes is like a freaking text, you know? Be like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't like doing that.
I know.
I got a busy day, man. I'm so busy. That's I love the I'm busy. If someone hits you up and they're like, when you're like, dude, why aren't you texting me back? What the fuck? And they're like, dude, I've been busy. No. Come on. Yeah. I have 5 different jobs that I work right now currently, and I hit everyone up back. Everyone gets a message back from me. No one's just sitting on unread or no one's sitting. I don't understand how I start work sometimes at 4:30 in the fucking morning. And I don't get home until like midnight or 1 a.m. after a comedy set, and I can manage to get back to everyone. And yet, you're busy, though. You're too busy? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like to just say, well, if somebody reaches out to you and says, hey, or whatever, and like, you know, they want to generally have a conversation with you or whatever, and it's like, oh, dude, sorry, I missed that, or whatever. And it's like, dude, all you had to do is say, hey, I'm going to be busy all day, but I'm just not going to.
You didn't miss it. You could text them back and go, hey, man, pretty busy day, I'll hit you up later.
Yeah.
There you go.
Or then, like,
I guarantee
well, and then, like, the whole thing is if you get put on red, like, if you were to say hey to somebody that you're trying to catch up with, that you were friends with, and they don't text you back, and it's just like, okay,
right,
well, then why? The next time you're going to think, that's going to happen again.
You know? Either. Yeah, there's someone
and then that's how you lose. Well, I guess people come and go out of your life all the time, so I guess that's. Yeah, but it's like, that's like the, you know, people. It's just like, dude.
Let me tell you what, man. Once you start getting bigger, like, you have no idea how many people start hitting you up. Oh, man, dude, what's going on? Oh, dude, I heard you're coming back to Skyline. Come to Skyline. Do you want to hang out before the set, before you go on stage? Can I maybe come backstage? Like, no, you can do none of that.
Yeah.
You can fuck off because we were barely friends when we knew each other. And, like, no.
Well, that was the whole thing with that, is that I had people. It's so weird. So, like, I don't know if anybody's ever thought of this, but like, you see all these people share, like, say somebody passes away or something, and then they're like, oh yeah, we were this and that, and then it's like, you know, probably, but then like when I had this was getting shared, and people that were sharing it were like, "Oh yeah, me and Blaine were friends back this
dude,
and this," and it's like, dude, no, we weren't.
People love to take your success and make it their own.
Or like, yeah, I knew that guy. He went to he was in my class or whatever. I don't even know.
There was a
just
kid
like,
that,
oh, cool.
There was a kid that I went to high school with that he did something pretty cool in Chicago, but like. What's weird is everyone that I went to high school with was sharing the article about the cool thing that he did, and they're like, "Oh, so proud to know," and then share his name, and just it's like, dude, you don't. It's not your. This is not your accomplishment. Yeah. Don't fucking take what he did and make it. Oh, I knew him since we were kids. So proud to know this guy. Shut the fuck up.
And like
you didn't do shit.
And that could be like,
I'm just sharing the happiness. No. You're trying to take his accomplishment. And then say because you knew him from a young age that somehow you're fishing for likes and shit. Like, I think, fuck it off.
The one thing that I saw was when that blew up. I remember mowing lawns, and there was people that left me like legit. The last conversation I had was, "Hey," and there was nothing. And then this person texted me, and they were like, "Hey, I'm so proud of you for doing that. Like, you made that logo. I'm so proud. Like, that's the best one." And it's like, dude, there's like. You know,
I texted you 3 years ago.
3 times I've said hey, and you haven't responded, and now it's like, oh, dude, now that I did some, now you come out of the woodworks. It's like, yo, happens. That don't work.
That's what happens.
You know, and then
it's how it goes, man.
Yeah,
it's just welcome to it's how it goes. If you start making a name for yourself,
it's just like
people love to just mooch off of you. Oh, do they love it? Like I stopped uploading so many comedy sets to the internet because like people would be. Sounds terrible. People be, oh, dude, share that. That's great. Look at, I know this guy. This is great. Like, come on.
Yeah. I barely talked in high school. I'll take the shares, and I'll take, I respect everybody that goes out of the way, but just don't tell lies. Like, okay, don't make everything better than it is.
Don't act like we've been friends for fucking 15 years.
Like, everybody exaggerates a story, I feel like, when you talk about it, because you almost have to sometimes. And there's stuff that, you lose tide. Like, every time that you say it, it's so far in the past that you might exaggerate something. Yeah. But this is to the point where, like, you can't say that we were best friends and stuff when you clearly aren't, because you say that you're best friends with somebody, and that just rubs them the wrong way. It's like, dude, no, we weren't.
We are not best friends. I barely know you.
You know your best friends. You know them.
Oh, let me ask you something. So when you're in a pickle, right, some shit hits the fan, do you pick up the phone and call me?
Yeah.
You don't. So we're not best friends. Yep. Fucking stop. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So people, it's because you did something cool.
Yeah,
because you did something cool, and people aren't doing something.
People share it. People share it. People like it. Say that they're proud or whatever. Just don't tell me that you're. I know me and you talked and we were best friends because
I think everyone knows what you're trying to say. Yeah, it happens to everyone in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you do something cool, people love to either knock you down for it or try to make it their own success. It happens all the time.
You can only,
I mean, you know a guy that I know very well that took your logo and then printed it all for himself.
Oh, yeah.
And made a fuckload of money and then didn't pay me back for the jerseys that I bought for him, and then didn't pay back the ink suppliers for the ink that he used, and then didn't give you any royalties. I think we know someone along those lines.
Yeah, I mean,
motherfucker.
I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh, finally, get at it.
Say, but it's trademarked now, so it's yours now, right? You can take it from him.
Yeah, no one can print. No one can print that logo.
If you print that logo, we're gonna fucking sue you.
Yeah, it's the only thing, that's so, I'm actually, I paid a lot to get that trademarked, and I probably never will receive anything, and I don't really want to. I don't want to go through the hassle.
No, it was, the trademark was because other people were taking your work and making money off it.
Yeah, so now I just look at it like, I could probably revamp this thing and, really make it and put it out there for people products. I'm like, I never wanted this to define me, but I'm like, this is a cool story to tell people. But it's like, dude, I am totally moved on this whole, I made it, but, I'm not going to just go in, because it's a whole drama-filled world when you enter this, because it's like, now I'm just going to start drama. And I'm like, dude, I'm not that childish when it comes to that stuff. It's like, it's over with, done over with. You're not happy about the logo? Good for you, dude. You don't have to buy it. You're not.
Then don't look at it.
Yeah, don't get for it.
If you don't like the logo, guess what? They didn't pick it.
Yeah. There's a million things that you're not going to like. There's a million
didn't use it. I guess you won.
Yeah.
Right? You should be happy. So what are you talking to me about?
Yeah.
How dare you think you can use a computer to make a logo that I didn't first say you could do as someone you've never met?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Why do you think you're... Shut up. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Anyway, we are going on like 3 hours here, man.
Shit.
So we're going to wrap this up. Anything you want to say before you head out?
Should we get, I guess, shout out to my friends? I don't know.
Shout out to Blaine's friends.
Yeah, it's a pretty long podcast. We went into some depth on
Yeah, but
stuff.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was a good one. People like it. All right, Blaine, what's your handle so people can see your artwork?
Oh, I think it's at Blaine Durward.
I'll tag you in my shit so everyone can
that's my art page.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tag all that. Send me that link for your Behance too, and I'll put that in the description too.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Dope. All right, man. We'll see you later. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Thanks.